Everybody have a seat. Let's go on the record this morning. Okay, the state put the names on the record.
Taylor May on behalf of the Office of the State Attorney.
Tyler Brands on behalf of the Office of Public Defender.
I have Ms. Davis down here for pretrial release services. Let's talk about our 32-day motions this morning. First case I have is a Stephen Gonzalez, 2021 MM 14440 AO.
It was filed on May 5th.
All right.
It was transferred to Circuit Division.
All right, so it's denied. This is the 21st, right? Yep. I have Harris, 2021 CF 5000 AO.
Notice and on filing.
I would grant it. This is Figueroa, 2021 MM 2833 AO.
Filed on the 28th.
I denied. I have Hardenstein, 2021 CF 4825 AO.
Notice and on filing.
Granted. It's 2021 CF 4796 AO. And Pagano, Rivera Pagano.
Notice and on filing.
All right, granted. I have Swilly, 2021 CF 4827 AO.
Notice and on filing.
Granted. I have Dykers, 2021 CF 4780 AO.
Filed this morning.
All right, denied. Then I have Fennel, 2021 CF 4957 AO.
Filed on the 28th.
That be denied. Then I have Lockhart, 2021 MM76 and 2021 MM75 AE.
Notice and on filing.
I would grant it. Are these, this first one is Spanish interpreter or what is this? All right, Pagano Rios.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Carlos Morales, State Certified Spanish Court Interpreter. The interpreter has been sworn in already today.
All right, I have Mr. Morales. Good morning. I have a few cases this morning I need your assistance with. The first case I have is 2021 CF 6374 AO. Defendant's putting his headsets on now. Sir, can you tell me your
We're
name?
connected. Alberto Pagano.
Mr. Pagano, you're here in 2021 CF 6374AO on 4 counts. The first one is possession of cocaine with intent to sell and deliver with a weapon, carrying a concealed firearm, resisting an officer without violence, and possession of a firearm to commission of a felony. If found probable cause for your arrest, as to all of those charges. As a count one, I'm going to set your bond in an amount of $3,000. I'm going to stay your bonds in the remaining counts amount of $1,000, $100, and $150. Condition of your bond is you're not allowed to possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be returned to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. You're not allowed to possess any drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. I want to appoint the public defender to represent you in this matter. You have a great day, sir. Great day, sir. Mr. Morales, next case I have is 2021 MM 211AA. Good morning, sir. Can you tell me your name?
My name is Juan Aguilar.
Mr. Aguilar, you're here in 2021 MM 211AA on charge of battery domestic violence. You did review the charging affidavit. In this case, it did find probable cause for your arrest. I'm going to set your bond in this case in the amount of $1,000. Conditionally would be subject to pretrial release supervision. Conditioning your bond is you to have no contact with the victim in this case. You are to possess no weapons or firearms. The weapons or firearms that you have need to be returned to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. You'd have not returned to the scene of the location. You maintain a separate residence from this victim. You may not possess any drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. You'll be subject to random drug and alcohol testing at your expense. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you in this matter. You have a great day, sir. That's no weapons or firearms, right? Okay. Mr. Morales, next case I have is 2021 MM 3696AO. Good morning, sir. Can you tell me your name?
Marco Ayala.
Marco Ayala.
Mr. Ayala, you're here in 2021 MM 3996AO on a charge of battery domestic violence. I did review the charging affidavit. In this case, I did find probable cause for your arrest. I'm going to set your bond in this matter in the amount of $250. It's going to come with pretrial release supervision. You're to have no contact with the victim in this case. You are to maintain a separate residence from this victim. I'll give you a one-time return with law enforcement to retrieve any personal items you may have at that residence. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you in this matter. Do you have any questions about the no contact order, sir?
Sí.
Yes.
Yes. Sí. Mi esposa no trabaja, no tiene dinero y yo soy el que les proveo todo. Entonces, ¿cómo voy a ver que mi hija esté bien?
Well, my wife does not work. She doesn't have any money. I'm the one that provides for them. So how am I going to make sure that my daughter's going to be all right?
Well, you need to make sure you continue to pay the bills, pay to support your child. You to make sure that you continue to put money into the account, so to make sure that she has money and access to do that. That's how. But you have no contact with the victim until that time happens.
I believe they are from Virginia. Will you allow them to return to Virginia?
Sir, I allow you to return to your home state with this warning. My orders still apply in Virginia. If you violate my orders in Virginia, you will be arrested in Virginia. You'll be put on a bus and sent back to Florida. So don't violate my orders. But you know that you are to maintain your financial status with your wife, make sure all the money stays in the accounts, make sure she has what she needs to provide for your children and for herself. That's your job under the law. So have a great day, sir. There's another one. Mr. Morales, next case I have is 2021 MM 3706AO. Ma'am, can you tell me your name?
Liliana Vaquero Perez.
Liliana Vaquero Perez.
Ms. Pagano Perez, you are here in 2021 MM 3706AO on charge of assault and domestic violence. I did review the charging affidavit in this case. I did find probable cause for your arrest. I'm going to set your bond in this case at amount of $500. Condition on your bond that you not possess, you not have any contact with the victim in this case. You not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. You are not to maintain a separate residence from this victim. I'll give you a one-time return with law enforcement to retrieve any personal items you have at that location.
Is that straight $500?
Oh, sorry.
I believe there was
No.
also contact, Your Honor. I believe it was a battery. The chair did hit him in his back.
I'm sorry. Sorry, ma'am. Madam Clerk, apologize. I'll set a bond at $250 with pretrial release. Still no contact. Still need to maintain a separate residence. I'll give you a one-time return with law enforcement to retrieve any personal items you have at the location. And you may not possess any weapons or firearms. You understand that? All right. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Have a great day, ma'am.
¿Es posible una pregunta?
Can I ask something?
Mr. Interpreter, just let her know that she can't talk about the facts of the case or record it and use it later. But if she has a question about the orders, she may ask that question.
If you're unclear about my orders, you can ask me a question about that. If you want to talk about what happened or that it didn't happen, or you think that you're wrongfully arrested, those kind of things like that, don't talk to me about the case. I'm unclear about the orders that I gave you.
No. Okay.
All right, have a great day, ma'am. All right, next case I have Mr. Morales. Let me know if you need a break. This is 2021 MM 3703AO.
Got it. Thank you.
I believe I have a victim
Actually-
approaching, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Morales, look, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more cases.
That's fine, Your Honor. The only thing the interpreter would kindly request of Your Honor is if Your Honor could slow down just a little bit, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You always, you can't wave at me because you're not here, but you're
Correct.
telling me that you're not, if I'm going too fast.
Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am. Can you tell me your name?
Alicia Portillo Morales.
Grecia Kelly Portillo Morales.
Ms. Portillo Morales, you're here in 2021 MM 3703AO on a charge of battery domestic violence. I did review the charging affidavit in this case. I did find probable cause for your arrest. Ms. Davis, if I order pretrial release, you gonna be okay with that? Or?
Oh, yeah, she could qualify.
Okay. All All right, ma'am, I'm going to set your bond in this
Your Honor, we
case.
have a witness.
Oh, sorry. All right, sir, can you tell me your name?
Luis Alfredo Cabrera.
Can you raise your right hand and be sworn in? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
You put your hand down. Can you tell me how you know Ms. Portugal Morales?
she's my wife.
And do you want to have contact with your wife while this case is pending?
Yes, I do.
Are you afraid of her?
Not at all.
Has anything like this happened in the past?
No,
If something like this were to happen in the future, do you feel comfortable contacting law enforcement?
sure.
I can't hear you.
Yes.
Did drugs or alcohol play a role in this incident?
I'm sorry?
Did drugs or alcohol play a role in this incident?
Well, I don't really gonna say that it did play a role, but we both had a couple of drinks. We were upstairs at the pool, but I'm not gonna say that's the fact that make this happen.
Mr. Portillo Morales is going to set your bond in this case in the amount of $250. It's going to come with pretrial release supervision. That you have no hostile contact with your husband. Do you understand? Ma'am?
Yes.
All right. No hostile contact means this. You're allowed to have disagreements with your husband. You're allowed to be upset with him that he's not treating you the way that you want to be treated, or that he did not do his house chores or leave the toilet seat up at home. However, those disagreements cannot turn violent. They cannot turn threatening. They cannot come to the point whether he's going to call law enforcement or somebody that sees or hears you all arguing is going to call law enforcement. Because if that happens, you will be arrested. You will be spending the remaining of your time here with me at the Orange County Jail. You understand that?
Yes.
I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you, ma'am. You have a great day.
Your Honor, are you going to order no weapons?
No weapons, no firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be returned to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. Everybody have a great day. So he didn't bond. So give me a note that he bonded. I don't know. He's there, so I guess not.
What?
No, somebody gave me a note that this next defendant bonded. But all right. Good morning, sir. Can you tell me your name?
Michael.
Michael.
What's your full name?
No, Flake is Morero.
All right. Do you need the services of an interpreter?
Please.
If you're going to use the services of an interpreter, you got to respond to him in Spanish so he can tell me what you're saying.
Yes.
All right. Sir, you're here in 2021 MM 3715AO on a charge of boating under the influence. I did review the charging affidavit in this case. I did find probable cause for your arrest. Going to stay your bond in this case in the amount of $500. Condition of your bond that you're not allowed to possess any drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. You'll be subject to random drug and alcohol testing at your expense.
Okay.
You have 48 hours from your release from the Orange County Jail to report to the Orange County Sheriff's Office as a violent sexual predator or sexual offender. As a condition of your release, I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you in this case. You have a great day, sir.
All right, thank you.
There it is. Good morning, sir. Can you tell me your name?
Neri Perez Ramirez.
Mr. Perez Ramirez, you're here in 2021 CT 914AW for a charge of no valid driver's license.
Your Honor, I don't have an offer at this time. It seems like the officer wanted to do a DUI investigation. I wanted to verify that one was.
Do you do want to just decide that they wasn't going to arrest him for that?
I don't know if maybe another officer wrote a report. It looks like he was going to do a DUI investigation, asking if he would do FSCs. So I just asked that you set a bond.
All right. All right, sir, I want to release you on pretrial release in this case. Condition of your pretrial release that you not operate a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license. You understand?
Yes.
I'm going to appoint a public defender to represent you. Have a great day.
All right, thank you.
No, I'm sorry, it's an add-on thing.
Good morning, sir. Can you tell me your name?
José Malaver. José Malaver.
Jose Malaver.
Mr. Malobar, you're here in 2021 MM 3691AO on charge of battery domestic violence. I did review the charging affidavit in this case. I did find probable cause for your arrest.
I'm sorry, and what's this defendant's name?
Jose Malobar. Here's your update. He's in the domestic violence section.
Okay.
Sir, I did review the charging affidavit. In this case, I did find probable cause for your arrest. I'm gonna set your bond in this case in an amount of $500. It's gonna come with pretrial release supervision that you have no contact with the victim in this case. You are to maintain a separate residence from this victim. I'll give you a one-time return if you have a shared residence with law enforcement to retrieve any personal items you have at the location. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. Want to appoint the public defender to represent you in this case. If you have any questions about the no contact order?
No, sir.
I have a question. Did you want me to appoint the public defender in this case? It doesn't look like you qualify. Looks like you make sufficient of money to hire your own attorney.
Pues no sé si sea necesario.
Well, I don't know if it's necessary.
Well, you're facing a criminal charge that's punishable up to 1 year in the county jail. There's a bunch of minimum mandatory requirements that you complete a batteries intervention course and things like that that comes with this charge. You can choose to represent yourself if you like, but I'm not going to hold that hearing today. But based on your affidavit, it doesn't seem like you qualify for the public defender's office based on the amount of money that you make. The public defender is for people that are considered indigent under the law. So I'm not going to appoint a public defender to represent you in a case. You should go talk to some local attorneys and see if you want to hire one of them for their services.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, I think that was the last one, correct? All right, thank you, Mr. Morales.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Thank you for sticking with me. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Morning, ma'am. Can you tell me your name?
Alicia Dunn.
Ms. Dunn, you're here in 2021 MM 3697AO on charge of battery domestic violence. I did review the charging affidavit in this case. I did find probable cause for your arrest. I'm going to set your bond in this case in amount of $1,500. Condition of your bond that you have no contact with the victim in this case. That you maintain a separate residence from this victim. I'll give you a one-time return with law enforcement to retrieve any personal items you have at that location. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you in this case, ma'am. You have a great day. Which one? Which one? I don't know. Next person on that, I have the resets coming up next. So we have a whole mixture of them today.
Yeah. For whatever reason, they don't waive on the weekend.
Yeah. It's a holiday weekend, so everybody drew the short straw on that one. All right. Good morning, sir. Can you tell me your name?
Herman Benjamin, Your Honor.
Say your name again.
Herman Benjamin, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Benjamin, you're here in 2021 CF 6379AO on charge of aggravated battery causing great bodily harm or with a weapon. They reviewed the charging affidavit in this case. I did find probable cause for your arrest. Going to set your bond in this case in the amount of $3,500. Condition of your bond is that you to have no contact with the victim in this case. Actually, hold on 1 second. One question, did Judge Starr set this at 10,000 or did law enforcement?
I think it came in as 10,000, Your Honor.
Yeah, the law enforcement officer.
Okay. All right, sir, we're going to reduce your bond. We're going to set it at $3,500. Condition your bond. No, cover your face, ma'am. No, not you. There's somebody standing behind you. You had no contact with the victim in this case. You're not returned to this victim's residence. You maintain a separate residence from this victim. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. You understand that? No. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. Going to appoint the public defender to represent you in this case. You have a great day, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This is all right. All right. Can you tell me your name, ma'am?
Shandrie Bridley.
Ms. Bridley, you're here in 2021 MM3679 for two charges. The first one is assault domestic violence. The second one is battery domestic violence. I reviewed the charging affidavit in this case. I did find probable cause for your arrest. Going to set your bond in both counts in amount of $500. Condition of your bond is you to have no contact with the victim in this case. You are to maintain a separate residence from this victim. I'll give you a one-time return with law enforcement to retrieve any items you may have at a shared residence. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. One second. Looks like you're out on pretrial diversion, possibly, for a battery in 2021 MM7959AO for the same victim. The court's going to revoke that pretrial release, that your release on that case and set a new bond at $0. You don't qualify for the public defender at this time. But since I'm going to hold you in custody on the other case, I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you in this case. Because I don't think you're going to be making any money while you're sitting here with me.
It's the
Cover your face.
Oh, there's a.
Your Honor, I believe the victim on the out on bond case is Catherine Wesley.
Yes, I'm
The
sorry.
victim in this case is Jabril
Oh, correct.
Ali.
That's right. I did look it up. I'm sorry. was the wrong, it was a different victim.
Yeah, and he's not a victim. He attacked me. I'm sorry.
Then that's something that can be settled at a trial, but you still can do that. Have a great day.
So I don't have a bond?
Not as to the old case, no. The law requires that I give you a bond as to any case you're arrested on, unless it's a punishable life offense or capital offense. But in those cases, these aren't. But if you violate a release condition, for instance, get arrested on another charge while you haven't resolved a previous case, I can revoke that bond, set it at no bond, which is what I did.
Your Honor, since it's a different victim and she's
Absolutely,
resolving it
no,
through
no,
diversion, I would have you take no action.
No.
Getting everything.
All right, have a great day, ma'am. If I could, I don't know if you guys are comfortable with that.
Whatever you want, it'll be all right.
Because unless the state has new information, it's gonna be a pretty quick.
No, Your Honor, I was just gonna ask you that you stay the PC found 1 and no info, or
All right, sir, tell me your name.
Fernando Colon.
All right. And Miss England, are you about to? All right, Miss England. And Mr. Letizia? Say it again?
Letizia.
Mr. Letizia and Mr. Tate, correct? All righty. Mr. Colon, you're here in 2021 CF 6367AO, charges burglary of a structure, possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia. Ms. Engel, you're here in 2021 CF 6368AO for the same charges. Mr. Letizia, you're here for burglary of a structure in 2021 CF 6366AO and possession of drug paraphernalia. And Mr. Tate, you're here in 2021 CF 6386 for burglary of a structure, possession of drug paraphernalia, and criminal mischief. All right. So Judge Starr was here this past weekend and found probable cause for the burglary of a structure, but did not find probable cause for any of your remaining charges. The state of Florida has not produced any information as to those charges, so the court's going to release you in your own recognizance as to those other remaining charges. I'm going to stay her bonds in those cases, though, as set in Mr. Colon. I think it's all $3,500, correct?
it's all 3,500
Yep,
on the
I think it's
burglary.
$3,500 for all the burglary counts.
35, Your Honor.
See?
35, 3,500.
Yeah, $3,500. Yeah, $3,500 on each of the burglary counts.
Can I speak, sir?
Nope, wait a second, let me finish.
Anything.
Condition on your bonds. You cannot return to the location where this incident happened. You may not have contact with each other. You may not have contact with any victims or any other witnesses in this case. None of you may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be returned to law enforcement within 24 hours of release. Nor are you allowed to possess any drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. I'm going to appoint a public defender to represent all of you. Now, the public defender is not going to be able to represent every single one of you because that would be a conflict unless you all waive that conflict. So that means somebody's going to get regional conflict counsel, somebody's going to get some appointed attorneys to represent them to make sure they have representation from all of those people. But that comes after the public defender officer starts coming off of your cases and decides who they're going to represent. Now, if you want to talk to me about my orders, I will listen to you. If you want to talk to me about the facts of this case, I would suggest you don't talk to me because everything you tell me is on the record. All right, so anything about my orders that are unclear?
No, you don't. Never mind.
All right. All right, everybody have a great day.
Your Honor, I believe
Who?
Ms. England had a failure to
Do we handle
appear.
all the out on bond stuff? Because I didn't have any,
I do not
hard to
know.
tell.
I don't
what
have
happened.
any notes regarding Miss England. She has an out on bond and a failure to appear. I have no
Did we-
notes from the ASA.
Were they addressed? Like, because the
I
only
don't
thing
believe she addressed the FTA.
because the only thing I
We were trying
have
to let her
is,
know she had an extra case, but I guess she said since they were going to be held at a no bond, I'm believing she left the bond as is, but she didn't state it on the record.
because the note I had on the notes from this week was Mr. Cologne was, it says on the note from Judge Starr that she took action, that she revoked it and set it at none as to the 2020 CF 12745 EO case.
No, I think she's talking about Miss England.
All right, so Ms.
Yeah,
England.
FTA.
So Ms. Cologne, all right, so the order on Ms. England.
So I do have bond?
You have bond on the new case, not on your old case. So the conspiracy to traffic in methamphetamine, you do not have a bond. All right. Ms. England. Look at her, the note. Ms. England, she took action, set her old 2021 CF 1546 AO case at no bond.
She had an FTA warrant though.
Oh, she had another FTA warrant? That wasn't, I don't have anything for that.
2020 CF 14918.
Yes, a failure to appear on possession of Utilum.
It wasn't,
Yesterday. But she didn't address it.
it wasn't on the order. I don't have any orders for that, and it wasn't reset, so I'm figuring that she addressed it. What is her bond as to that case?
2,500.
All right, ma'am, you have a failure to appear in 2020 CF 14978, sorry, 14918 AO. The judge in that case set your bond at $2,500. With any other conditions, or just,
I believe that was it, Your
all
Honor.
right. And Mr. Letizia, I don't have anything for him. And Mr. Tate,
Mr. Tate had an out on bond.
one more second. She took action on the 2021 CF 2172 AO by revoking that bond. So the only thing I had to address was the probable cause determination as to the burglary of a structure case.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, what was the case number for that on bond on Tate?
2021 CF 2172 AO.
Thank you.
That's the orders I have from Judge Starr from yesterday. All right. Everybody have a great day. All right. All right. All right, ma'am, you gotta cover your nose for me. Can you tell me your name?
Trisha Davis.
Ms. Davis, you're here in 2021 CF 3685 AO on a charge of criminal mischief.
We're just here to address her fat.
Yeah,
That was yesterday.
yeah, she were just that yesterday, then you have a out on bond case in 2020 MM 217 AW, say you had an offer for that case?
She pled no contest to that in April of 2020.
Actually, we looked that up. She pled to a 2020 MM 2607 case.
Yep.
And this 217 case on the court order, the judge, Bigney, took no action. The state attorney's site is wrong. She
Okay.
didn't plead to this case.
Yeah, she didn't plead, so what happened was she was arrested on this 2020 MM 21, no, sorry, it's in 2020 2607 AO case.
Yeah.
She pled to that case, but didn't take care of the petty theft case.
Okay, Your Honor, the offer would be an adjudication, credit time served, no return to Burlington Coat Factory.
All right, Ms. Davis, do you want to take the offer to resolve that 2020 petty theft case with one prior theft conviction? An adjudication of guilt, credit time served.
Can I speak with her as a friend of the court if I'm not appointed?
I'm going to tell her that, you're pleading to this case, if you're arrested for another petty theft, It can be used against you to enhance your sentencing up to a third-degree felony. Do you understand that? Yes.
Spoke with Ms. Davis, Your Honor, as a friend of the court, and I believe she still wants to enter the plea.
All right. Ma'am, can you raise your right hand and be sworn in? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, none but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, you put your hand down. Ma'am, you're here in 2020 MM 217AW on charge of petty theft with one prior theft conviction. That is a first-degree misdemeanor. It's punishable up to 1 year in the county jail and a $1,000 fine. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to enter a plea of guilty or no contest to resolve the case today?
No contest.
All right, you got to cover your nose for me, though. Make sure it's covered. Do you understand by entering a plea of no contest, you're going to give up the right to have a trial in this matter? With the state, you had to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that you're giving up that right?
Yes.
Do you understand that you give up the right to have the court appoint an attorney to represent you in this matter?
Okay, yes, sir.
All right. Do you understand that? Sorry. Do you understand that you have the right to challenge the state's evidence, question the state's witnesses, and call witnesses on your behalf?
Yes, sir.
If there's a witness you wanted to call and that witness did not want to come to court, the court can use a subpoena power to make that witness appear. Do you understand? You understand you're waiving your right to remain silent as to this charge?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that? Have you now or in the past been diagnosed with a mental health illness?
No, sir.
Right. Has anybody forced, threatened, or coerced you to enter this plea?
No, sir.
Do you understand that entering this plea, like I talked to you before, at a later date, this charge can be used to enhance your sentencing up to a third-degree felony if you're arrested or convicted for another petty theft?
Yes, sir.
You understand that if you're not a United States citizen, entering this plea could subject you to deportation?
Yes, sir.
I did have opportunity to review your charging affidavit from your felony case when it came in, and not on that discharge. I did find a factual basis contained therein for the charge of petty theft with one prior theft conviction. I'm going to accept your plea of no contest, finds your plea is freely and voluntarily entered. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty of the charge. I'll give you credit for the 2 days that you spent in the Orange County Jail with 2 days credit time served. The court costs and costs of prosecution in this case are $273. I'm going to give you 1 year from today's date to pay that money directly to the clerk in full. You have 30 days from today's date to appeal your judgment and sentence in writing. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You going to sign the plea form? And have a great day, ma'am.
This will be dealt with, right?
Yes. I need prints, though.
And again, Your Honor, I spoke with her as a friend of the court, as I didn't know if we were appointed on that petty theft case.
I can't hear what you said.
I didn't know if we were appointed in the petty theft case. I didn't see it in our records.
Yeah, I couldn't tell either. The
spoke
order,
with her.
yeah, the order only referred to the case that she was arrested on, but not.
Therefore, I spoke with her as a friend of the court.
All right. Can you tell me your name, ma'am?
Alicia Diaz.
Ms. Diaz, you're here in 2021 CF 6348AO on a charge of aggravated battery, great bodily harm, discharging a firearm in public, and aggravated assault with a firearm. Did review the charging affidavit. In this case, did find probable cause for your arrest. Going to set your bond in count 1 in amount of $10,000. Counts 2 and 3 are going to restate your bonds in amount of $150 and $100. Condition of your bond is you have no contact with the victim in this case. You not return to the scene of this location where this incident happened. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. I want to appoint the public defender to represent you in this case, ma'am. You have any questions about my no contact order?
Yes, that's where I live.
Your Honor, I was going to bring it up. You ordered a no return. I believe this was at Ms. Diaz's residence.
Sorry. Now scratching no return, but no contact.
Your Honor, she's been on Social Security disability for the last 2 years. $10,000 may be an unattainable bond for this client.
All right. That's something you can address with your division judge. But based on the firearm discharge in this case and the level of danger to everybody, including your neighbors who live around you, the court's not willing to reduce your bond at this time. But you can always talk to your division judge about that. Speak with your public defender by calling that number on the green sheet of paper that's in front of you. And you can get that set up and have a bond hearing. You have a great day, ma'am. Tell me your names, ma'am. Ms. Fisher, you're here in 2021 MO 638 AO for violation, I believe it's panhandling, if I remember correctly. And state, you have or is this a city case?
I think it was a trespass, Your Honor.
It's trespass, that's what it is.
I have been authorized on behalf of the city to offer withhold credit time served.
All right. Ms. Fisher, you want to accept the city's offer of a withhold adjudication and guilt credit time served?
Yeah.
Say again? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Can I speak with?
Can you raise your right hand and be sworn in?
Sure.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Hey, put your hand down. You might get her a plea form. You're like you're holding one in your hand. Yeah. While they're doing that, you can just bring it up. Huh? Sorry. All right, ma'am, you're here in 2021 MO 638 AO for a violation of a municipal ordinance, I think related to a trespass. That's a second-degree misdemeanor. It's punishable up to 60 days in the county jail and a $500 fine. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to enter pleas of guilty or no contest to resolve the case?
No contact. When I say no contact, not go home.
Well, either one is going to be going home because it's a credit time served offer. No contest is saying I don't necessarily agree with the facts, but I want to resolve my case. Guilty is saying I did what's alleged in these charging affidavit.
Contact.
You understand by airing it?
Contest, Your Honor.
Say again?
I believe you said no contest, Your Honor.
She said no contest.
Right.
All right, so you, all right. I got you. Well, you got to answer my questions first. You understand by airing this plea, you give me the right to have a trial in this matter?
Huh?
You're saying you're giving up the right to have a trial in this case?
Giving out what?
You give me up the right to have a trial in this matter. Do you understand that?
I don't.
Say no?
I said, no, I don't understand what you're saying.
All right. All right, Mr. Fisher, I want to release you on mental health pretrial release in this case. If you don't qualify for mental health pretrial release, we're going to release you on your own recognizance as to this matter. All right, we're going to appoint a public defender to represent you in this case. You have a great day, all right?
Your Honor, state would just ask for a no return.
And no condition of your release, no, you can't not return to the scene where this happened. When you're arrested, you can't go back there, okay? All right. Tell me your name, ma'am. Look at me. Yes, ma'am.
Alicia Gonzalez.
Ms. Gonzalez, you're here in 2021 CF 6382AO on charge of battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting an officer without violence. Look at me. Don't turn that way. Look this way, okay? And battery dating violence. I did review the charging affidavit in this case, after Judge Starr did, and did find probable cause for your arrest. Sir, can you tell me your name?
Cillian Ferguson.
Can you raise your right hand and be sworn in? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, put your hand down. Can you tell me how you know Ms. Gonzalez?
That's my wife.
All right. And look, all right. This is a very simple concept for you all. I need you all to look at me to make sure you understand what I'm saying and you understand what you're saying. Also, that you're not contacting each other, because right now the law says you can't. It's all right. So I don't want to have to hold her because she's violating my orders, because you all can't keep looking at each other. All right. All right, sir. Do you want to have contact with your wife during the course while this case is pending?
I do.
Has anything like this happened in the past?
Never.
Are you afraid of her?
Never.
All right. Did drugs or alcohol play a role in this incident?
No.
All right.
Your Honor, I do believe there is an allegation within the affidavit.
Yeah, I understand. All right. Sir, does Ms. Gonzalez have a medical, doctor she sees in Arizona?
A medical doctor?
Yep, for mental health or anything like that?
Not that I know of.
All right. How long you all been married?
Well, we're not technically married, went to court and got married.
All right, so this is your girlfriend?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. And how long has that been going on?
We've been together for close to a year.
All right. And during that time, she's never seen a psychologist or psychiatrist during that time?
Not with me. I don't know.
All right. Did you all live together? You all been living together for the whole year or just?
No.
Okay. All right. All right. I want to appoint a public defender to represent you in this case, ma'am. Can you find out if she's seeing somebody in Arizona for any mental health conditions? Yeah, I'm talking to the public defender, not you, Ms. Davis. So this is, if I don't put her on pretrial release, I can't put on, since she's going back to Arizona, I can't drug test her. I forgot which way it went.
If she's on PTR, you can drug test her.
I can?
Not on PTR, you can't.
If she's out of state.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was the other way around. I want to make sure that.
No, only if they're supervised through pretrial release, on PTR, then they can do the random urinalysis.
Okay.
But if they're not supervised, then.
All right. And it's not, she didn't have an open case, was it?
No.
She should qualify? Okay. All right.
And I got one. If we from out of state, I gotta pay the full bond, or can it be 10%?
Well, you can talk to a bondsman about that, but I'm trying to get the other conditions handled. All right, what'd you find out?
Not that I know of, Your Honor. The only request was a higher bond may be unattainable they're from out of state. They don't have enough money to put up for an entire bond. I think bondsmen require the entire amount if you're from out of state.
I'm not sure. They got some collateral they can attach to. That's the.
However much the bond is, I can pay it.
All right, sir. As to count one, I'm going to set your bond in this case, ma'am, in amount of $2,000. Count three, you're going to set your bond. Count two, you're going to set your bond in amount of $500, and count three, you're going to set your bond amount of $500. Condition your bonds. You be subject to pretrial release supervision. I'll allow you to return to Arizona. You to have no hostile contact with your boyfriend. No hostile contact means this. You're allowed to be upset with him about not him treating you the way that you want to be treated, or leaving the toilet seat up, or doing anything else that may annoy you, that may cause you to be aggravated and upset. However, Those disagreements, those arguments cannot turn violent. They cannot turn threatening. They cannot come to the point whether he's going to call law enforcement or somebody that sees or hears you all arguing is going to call law enforcement. Because if that happens, you will be arrested. You will be put on a bus in Arizona, sent across the country till you get back here to Florida. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
You are not allowed to consume any drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. You'll be subject to random drug and alcohol testing at your expense. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. I think I already appointed a public defender to represent her, correct? All right. Is there anything else, State, you want to?
No, Your Honor, that was normal PTR, not mental health PTR.
Not mental health PTR. One, I don't have enough information to
Understood. I just wanted
see if she really qualifies or not. But I would suggest if you are struggling with some mental health illness, that you go speak with somebody when you get back to Arizona, and you keep up with your appointments there and take all the medications that you're required to take from them, because it may prevent this from happening again, and not mixing those two things with alcohol. Because usually those things, that ends up really bad. Either somebody getting hurt or you getting arrested. All right, have a great day. All right, tell me your name, sir.
Jeremiah Jones.
Mr. Jones, you're here in 2021 MM 3665 AO on a charge of criminal mischief. Did review the charging affidavit in this case, did find probable cause for your arrest. Going to set your bond in this case in amount of $1,000. Condition of your bond that you have no contact with the victim. Not return to the scene of the location. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release.
Yes, sir.
You, sir, you are out on bond in these cases in 2021 CF 5004 AO. You're also out on bond in 2021 CF 5005 AO. You're out on bond in 2021 CF 5003 AO. You're out on bond in 2021 CF 505 AO. And in those cases, the court's going to revoke those bonds. They'll set new bonds at $0 in those matters. Want to appoint a public defender to represent you in all your cases if you're not already appointed. You have a great day, sir. All right. There we go. Now another case for Ms. Kendrick here, were these other cases addressed? Is violation of probation, is it escape? All that stuff was already addressed some other time?
No, they weren't addressed.
She's here on all four, not just 6363.
All right, I just wanted to make sure what we were here for.
Okay.
All right. Good morning, ma'am.
Kendrick refused.
Okay?
Kendrick refused.
All right, I'm going to appoint a public defender to represent Ms. Kendrick.
We'll waive the appearance, Your Honor.
All right, in 2000, I did find probable cause for her arrest in 2021 CF 6363 AO and 2021 CF 6362 AO. And all those cases going to state her bonds as set. Condition of her bonds that she did not.
Your Honor, I believe she doesn't.
Oh, sorry, the escape charge doesn't have a bond. That's what I'm calling. Wait, I'm getting there. Hold on. Trying to find the paperwork in this massive.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. An escape charge is going to set her bond in that case an amount of $5,000. That's 2021 CF 6363. It's at the end. I don't know why they put it at the very end. It's probably the last order in your stack. All right, 2021 CF 6363. Keep going off the record again. That's probably what they're calling. I went off record for some reason. Yes, ma'am. No weapons, no firearms. And 2021 CF 6362 AO, staying the bond of 1,000. Condition that she not return to the scene of location, no contact with any victims or witnesses in that case. And she's on probation in 2 cases, 2018 CF 7942 and 2019 CF 14772 on state of bonds at none in those cases. 0, yeah, and no VOP cases. All right, and I had Lewis, the next person. All right. Can you tell me your name, ma'am?
Amara Lewis.
Ms. Lewis, you're here in 2021 MM 33667 AO on charge of battery, domestic violence. I did review the charging affidavit in this case. I did find probable cause for your arrest.
Your Honor, she does qualify for PTR, no criminal history, unemployed 10 months as well.
Yep, not talking about looking at that. Well, I'm appointed public defender to represent her. Can you find out, it's another case where I'm trying to, in Tallahassee, does she have a doctor that she sees for mental health treatment?
Your Honor, she does see a doctor in Tallahassee named Dr. Kelly Sunshine. She's also prescribed medication.
Okay. All right, Ms. Lewis, going to set your bond in this case amount of $100. Condition that you're going to be subject to pretrial release supervision, that you have no contact with the victims in this case, that you maintain a separate residence from these victims. I give you a one-time return with law enforcement to retrieve any personal items you have at any shared residence, okay? You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be returned to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. I want to order that you have not possess any drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. And then want to order that you take your medication that is prescribed to you by Dr. Sunshine, and you keep up with all your appointments with that doctor. You understand that? Are you appointed the public defender to represent you in this case? Don't violate my orders in Tallahassee when you return. You understand? All right. Have a great day, ma'am. All right, tell me your name, sir.
Peter Lepari.
Mr. Lepari, you're here in 2021 MM 210AA on charge of battery domestic violence. I did review the charging affidavit in this case, did find probable cause for your arrest. I'm going to set your bond in this case in amount of $1,000. Condition your bond that you have no contact with the victim in this case. You not possess any drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. You be subject to random drug and alcohol testing at your expense. You must maintain a separate residence from this victim. I'll give you a one-time return with law enforcement to retrieve any personal items you have at that location. Do you understand that?
Yes.
I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you in that case. You're out on bond in 2020 CF 8600 AO. And in that case, the court's going to revoke that bond. Does anybody, did the judge start taking testimony from the victim yesterday? Does anybody know?
I don't have any notes, Your Honor, so I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, Your Honor. I'm not sure either, Your Honor.
Gonna hold you at no bond as to the case you're out on bond on. If you're not appointed, the public defender will represent you in that case as well. Going to,
The case I'm on, I'm out on bond on, it's getting revoked.
yes, sir.
Okay. I'm not gonna be able to post bond at all.
19 gets to your division judge. I may have been more inclined if I had some victim testimony, but I don't have any right now, so. All right. Good afternoon, sir. Oh, sorry, good morning, sir. Can you tell me your name? Mr. Martin, you're here in 2021 MM 3682AO on charge of battery domestic violence. Did review the charging affidavit in this case, did find probable cause for your arrest. I'm going to appoint a public defender to represent you. Can you find out Mr. Martin is also seeing a mental health counselor or professional here? And PTR, is there? Did he not qualify, or, I mean? Say it wasn't interviewed, so I didn't know if there had been an update.
He could qualify.
Okay.
He was interviewed, it's just his fingerprints didn't clear.
Okay, that's what it was, all right.
Your Honor, he does see somebody at campus counseling. He goes there.
All right. Mr. Martin, we're going to set your bond in this case in an amount of $100. It's going to come with pretrial release supervision. You had no contact with the victims in this case. You must maintain a separate residence from the victim. I give you a one-time return if you have a shared residence to retrieve any personal items you have at that location. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. You may not possess any drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. I want to order that you take any of your medication from the location where you see your mental health counselor. I want to order that you keep up with all your appointments with that mental health counselor while you're out on release. You understand that? Understood. Are you appointed a public defender to represent you, so you have an attorney in this case? You have a great day, sir. There's lots of cases today. All right. All right, this is Mr. Montgomery. He's here in two cases, 2021 CF 6372AO and 2021 CF 6359. I'm going to appoint a public defender to represent him.
We'll waive the appearance, Your Honor.
All righty. 1 second.
Your Honor, as to 21 CF 6372, the kidnapping, as it is a PBL, state would ask that you hold him no bond pending an Arthur hearing.
I'll argument, Your Honor, pending that Arthur hearing.
All right. All right, as to 2021 CF 6372, going to order that he be held at no bond as to that charge. He have no contact with the victim in that case, not return to the scene, the location, not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms he has need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of his release.
Your Honor, the victim in that case has since deceased. They're doing an autopsy to potentially add other charges. You ordered a no contact with the victim.
Contact with the
and also
victim's
asked for the
family.
victim's family.
All right, I ordered no contact with the victim's family. And in 2021 CF 6359AO, going to set bond in that case in amount of $100,000. Condition of the bond, they not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms he has need to be returned to law enforcement within 24 hours of release. No return to the scene, the location. No contact with the victim's family or any witnesses in that case as well. He's out on bond in 2020 CF 15254AO.
Your Honor.
In that case, we're going to revoke that bond and set a new bond at zero. Go ahead.
I was just going to say he's out on R&R in that case. He's already being held on the current charges. I would have you take no action. But
Yeah, I mean, the only issue that for some reason he doesn't, they don't file charges on his new charges. He's been sitting in jail getting no credit. And then some state attorney's like, he has only 4 days. when he's actually been sitting in jail for a whole like 6 months.
I understand, Your Honor.
His behavior.
Did I give you two people? Because the next person I had was Shin Quellfield. I was trying to see if I gave Madam Clerk, I gave her more than one person. Right. Here you go.
Field is behavior also.
Sorry, all right, Prescott.
Yes, sir.
All right, Prescott, all right. That's 2015 CF 2925AO, case of Alachua County. I want to appoint a public defender to represent them right here in our custody.
We'll waive the appearance, Your Honor.
All right, this is Alachua County, warrant $5,000 for violation of probation. The bond will stay as set. All right. And then it says since Quinfield is behavior, I'm going to appoint a public defender to represent him as well for. Do you want to waive or?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, waive the appearance, Your Honor. I was just going to speak on the autumn bond case.
Which one?
It's an incompetency case, an issue
Was Sin Quinfield?
for Sinquafield.
Yeah, that's a case from Seminole County. The judge in their case hold him at no bond. I mean, he's incompetent in our case here, but without speaking to the judge from Seminole County, I can't.
I understand.
Respond to change their bonds.
I would just have you take no action on that autumn bond case.
Yeah, I'm not taking any action on the autumn bond case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Doesn't seem to be a new case. And can you tell me your name, ma'am?
Jennifer Stow.
Ms. Style, you're here in 2021 MM 3687AO on a charge of battery domestic violence. Did review the charging affidavit in this case. It did find probable cause for your arrest. Oh, that's Ms. Style, do you see any, before I get to the witness here, do you see any mental health doctors or counselors at this time?
Do I see any doctors or
Yeah.
counselors?
Yeah, mental health, for mental health.
Like at home, I have a psychiatrist.
You're a psychiatrist?
I have a psychiatrist.
Yes,
that I
you have
see
a
at home
psychiatrist.
Every 3 months.
Okay, every 3 months, they prescribe any medications to
Yes.
you there?
Anxiety disorder, panic.
All right. All right, sir, tell me your name.
Josh Stow.
Mr. Style, can you raise your right hand and be sworn in? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir, can you tell me how you know Miss Style?
That's my wife.
And do you want to have contact with your wife during the course of this case?
Absolutely.
Are you afraid of her?
No.
Has anything like this happened in the past?
Never.
Did drugs or alcohol play a role in this incident?
I'm sorry, Your Honor?
Did drugs or alcohol play a role in this incident?
No, sir.
And if something like this were to happen in the future, do you feel comfortable contacting law enforcement?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Style, I'm going to set your bond in this case in amount of $500, conditioning your bond that you be subject by pretrial release supervision, that you have no hostile contact with your husband, all right?
Yes, sir.
No hostile contact means this: you're allowed to have disagreements with him. You're allowed to be upset with him because he's not treating you the way you want to be treated, or he left the toilet seat up or left a mess that he didn't want to clean up and he made. Those are normal arguments to have in a relationship.
Yes, sir.
However, those disagreements cannot turn violent. They cannot turn threatening. They cannot come to the point where he's going to call law enforcement or somebody that sees or hears you all arguing is going to call law enforcement. Because if that happens, you will be arrested. You're spending the remaining of your time here with me at the Orange County Jail. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. You may not possess any drugs or alcohol that are not prescribed to you by a medical professional. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You'll be subject to random drug and alcohol testing at your expense. You also, I'm ordering that you keep up with your appointments with your psychiatrist, and you take all medications that they prescribe to you in the dosage that they prescribe to you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Because those two things, alcohol and your medications you're taking, don't mix well. You should end up with somebody getting hurt or you getting arrested. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I want to appoint the public defender to represent you in this case. You have a great day, sir. Ma'am, a great day,
Your
sir.
Honor, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I have firearms in the house. Do I have
Yes,
to
sir.
turn those over? Do I hold on to those?
I want a suggestion. If she's going to be living with you, you're probably going to have to turn those over to law enforcement until
They're
the
locked
case
in a
is.
safe.
if she has access to the safe, unless you want to, I mean.
I just want to make sure
I
I'm
would say this.
following your rules, that's all.
I want to say it like this. It's on her to make sure she's not in possession of those weapons or firearms. Now, this doesn't make any sense though, just hypothetically, that you have weapons in the house. You guys have an argument. She has access to those weapons, and for some reason decides to get one. Not that she's going to use it or anything like that, but that she just has one. She'll be violating my orders.
Yes, sir.
She'll be spending the remaining of her time here in Orange County Jail.
Yes, sir.
So, I don't know. I can't advise you what the prudent course of action is, but it seems to be if she's going to have access to those weapons,
Okay.
you may want to remove that. There's a lot of possibility. You understand
Okay. Yes, sir.
that? All right.
Thank
have a
you.
good day, sir. All right. Tell me your name, ma'am.
Webster.
All right, Ms. Webster, you're here in 2021 CF 6377 AO on charge of aggravated battery causing great bodily harm.
Your Honor, this
is
was
a
a reset for PC. I was able to obtain a new affidavit. May I approach?
Did you show it to counsel? All right. Come on up. Thank you kindly.
May I have a moment to read, Your Honor?
Yep, we're all going to take a moment to read.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I believe there was potentially a concussion.
Yeah, I mean,
The concrete path.
You
And
got
then
3 stitches,
significant
so that
injuries.
was sufficient to find that there was great bodily harm.
I'm good, Your Honor.
Come back up, Ms. Webster. All right, ma'am, you are here in 2021 CF 6377 AO on a charge of aggravated battery causing great bodily harm. I did review the charging affidavit in this case, and the supplemental provided by the state of Florida. I did find probable cause for your arrest as to those charges. I'm going to set your bond in this case in the amount of $5,000. Condition of your bond is you had no contact with the victim in this case. You're not returned to the scene of the location where this incident happened. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be returned to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. I'll give you a one-time return to the location with law enforcement to retrieve anything you had at the hotel where this incident happened.
Your Honor, she does otherwise qualify for PTR, no criminal history to speak of. She's also on vacation.
Yeah.
here, so she would have to pay, I believe, the entire bond amount. And she may not be, that may be unattainable to Ms. Webster. Is there a way to lower the bond? Considering those circumstances?
I already reduced the charge. I don't think that pretrial release is appropriate in this particular case. I'm not putting any other, she does not live here. She's no danger to the victims, no other alcohol or anything like that being, or things I need to monitor while she's in Virginia. So.
Is she able to return to Virginia, Your Honor?
Yep, she's able to return to Virginia. That's why I'm just putting her on bond. If you can go anywhere you want to, as long as you're on bond. Oh, I gotta cover your face, man.
Where I'm staying at, they had already left. The manager told us they left yesterday. So am I able to go?
That's what I said. You can't return to the scene. I'm giving you a one-time return with law enforcement to pack up all your stuff if they haven't already packed it all up for you, and get that stuff and return to Virginia.
Today?
If you're able to bond out today. But you got to call law enforcement first. You just can't go there by yourself. You got to call the police. There's a procedure to make that happen. You'll be instructed on that before you leave. You got to call, follow their instructions. They'll meet you at the location or meet you somewhere else or take you to the location so you can get your stuff. All right? It's not a DV case, and I don't think this is a stranger crime. Seems to be that way. That's the way I read it. I don't know if the state read it any other way.
No, Your Honor, I believe it was a stranger at the pool.
All right. I have one more out of the whole morning of. You have arraignments today too? All right, tell me your name, sir.
Donovan Willingham.
All right, cover your face, Mr. Willingham. You gotta cover your face. There we go. All the way up there. Get the other side from me. All right. There it is. All right, sir, you're here in 2021 CF 6360 AO on charge of possession of cannabis with intent to sell and deliver and possession of cocaine. Did review the charging affidavit in this case. Did find probable cause for your arrest. I'm going to state your bonds as set in the amount of $2,500 on count one and $150 as to count two. Condition your bond that you not possess any drugs or alcohol while a valid prescription. You be subject to random drug and alcohol testing at your expense. I want to appoint the public defender to represent you in this matter. You have a great day, sir. All right. Good morning, sir. Can you tell me your name? Sir, you're here in 2021 CF 6380 AO on charge of aggravated assault, domestic violence, battery by strangulation, domestic violence, and battery domestic violence. I did review the charging affidavit. In that case, I did find probable cause for your arrest. You're also here in 2021 CT 384 AW on a failure to appear warrant for driver license suspended. Bond in that case is $500. You also have a 2003 CT 162449 AO with no valid case and with an ROR, but oh, that's the state. Do you have any offers as to those traffic cases?
I don't have anything as to the 2003, Your Honor. So not at this time. I just asked that you set bond.
Well, I mean, he's going to be RR. That's it. I just want to try to see if we can deal with the duelist and the no valid while
I
we're
didn't
here.
have any. What was the case number for the 2003?
2003 CT 162449 Is it AO or the AW? Oh, it's
Your Honor, I don't have
AW. I'm sorry. Sorry, AW. Apologize. 2003 CT 162949. I got the wrong number here to everything too. 2949 AW.
I don't have that in my system, Your Honor. I'm not sure. If he wanted to plea to it, he could plea to
All right.
an adjudication for time served.
That's the duelist too?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Odom, you want to resolve your traffic cases today?
Yes, sir.
All right.
He says one of the cases he's settled and he was just, the only thing pending was fees, court fees. Could we double check, please?
But you failed to appear? They issued,
If he's
the
referring,
2003 is a notice to appear case that he never appeared on, and
and the other one,
yeah.
you failed to appear and it's been in KPS
Correct.
since.
What was the update? I'm sorry, Your Honor.
The 2003 case is a notice to appear case that, I don't know, you may have other traffic cases. That's the case you got a ticket for, you never came to court. And, they are, I think they just suspended your license and closed it at the time because you failed to appear. Just popped back up since you got arrested again. And then you got the notice, you had the Dwellers case that just recently picked up where it just failed to appear at arraignment, so.
I believe he wishes to enter a plea after speaking with him as, I believe, as a friend of the court, if not,
All right.
as they pointed
Okay,
it.
Ms. Alden, can you raise your right hand and be sworn in? All right, you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, put your hand down. Sir, you're here in 2003 CT 162949AW on charge of no valid driver's license. You're also here in 2021 CT 384AW on a charge of driver's license suspended. Both of those are second-degree misdemeanors. Both of those are punishable by 1 year in the county jail. 60 days in the county jail and a $500 fine. Do you understand that? And you want to enter a plea of no contest or guilty to both of those cases? I can't hear you. You understand by entering a plea of no contest, you're going to waive all the rights listed on the plea form that's in front of you right now. You understand that your plea in 2021 CT 384AW in the driver's license suspended case can be used at a later date to enhance your sentencing up to a third-degree felony. You understand that? Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication? Have you now or in the past been diagnosed with a mental health illness? Has anybody forced, threatened, or coerced you to enter this plea? Do you understand by entering this plea, if you're not a United States citizen, could subject you to deportation? I did have an opportunity to review your driving record and your court file in those two cases. I did find a factual basis contained therein. I'm going to accept your plea of no contest, find your plea is freely and voluntarily entered. In 2021 CT 384AW, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty as to the charge. I'm going to give you credit for the 2 days that you spent in Orange County Jail with 2 days credit time served. The court costs in that case and cost of prosecution of $306. In 2003, CT 162949AW, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty as to that charge. I don't think he has any credit time served, correct? You have 1 day?
Yeah, they served it on and then they released it.
Okay. And 1 day credit time served as to that case, the court costs and cost of prosecution in that case are as well as $306. I will combine these two cases for costs. I want to make these costs payable within 3 years of today's date. You have 30 days from today's date to appeal your judgment and sentence in each one of these cases. All right, now, as to your felony cases you're arrested on, 2021 CF 6380AO. As to count 1 in that case, the court is going to set your bond in the amount of $2,000. Count 2 is going to set your bond in the amount of $2,000, and count 3 is going to be $500. Condition of those bonds is you cannot contact the victim in this case. No contact with the victim. You must maintain a separate residence from this victim. I'll give you a one-time return with law enforcement to retrieve any personal items you have at the location. Actually, is that a no contact order that's in front of him, or I got a plea form? Oh, okay. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. You do not possess any drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. I want to appoint a public defender to represent you in those cases. Do you have any questions about the no contact order, Ms. Odom? All right, have a great day, sir.
Your Honor, I spoke with Mr. Odom as a friend of the court pertaining to the plea.
Okay. Good morning, sir. Can you tell me your name? Can you slide a little bit to the right there? There you go. Can you tell me your name again?
Satyam Patel.
Mr. Patel, you're here in 2021 CF 6390AO on 2 charges. The first one, attempted first-degree murder. The second one is aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, domestic violence. They reviewed the charging affidavit in this case, did find probable cause for your arrest as to that charge. I'm going to appoint a public defender to represent you in this case. State, what did you say is the count 1 in this case?
Your Honor, as to count 1, that is a life offense. State asks that you hold him no bond pending an Arthur hearing.
And?
No argument, Your Honor, pending that Arthur hearing downtown.
All right. Mr. Patel, as the count 1, I'm going to hold you at no bond as to that charge. Count 2, I'm going to set your bond in the amount of $50,000. Condition of your bond is you had no contact with the victim in this case, or if you do not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. You must maintain a separate residence from this victim. I'll give you a one-time return with law enforcement to retrieve any personal items you may have at a shared residence in this case, which I don't think you do.
Your Honor, state would also ask for him to comply with medication that has been prescribed.
Sir, I want to order that you not possess any drugs, alcohol in this case without a valid prescription. That you take any drugs, alcohol, any drugs that are prescribed to you by a licensed medical professional in the doses that is prescribed for that medication. All right. You have a great day, sir. You can't sign? Or you have any questions about the no contact order?
Well, I'm having a hard time signing it.
I can't hear you.
I'm having a hard time signing it.
Physically, or you saying, or?
Yeah.
Left or right?
Yeah, right hand.
All right. Tell me your name, sir.
Kevin.
Your full name.
Kevin Alberto Rivera.
All right. Mr. Alberto Rivera, you're here in 2021 MM3692AO on a charge of battery domestic violence. I did review the charging affidavit in this case, did find probable cause for your arrest. Sir, can you tell me your name?
Engel.
Your full name. You got a full name?
Excuse me?
What is your full name?
Engel R. Velasquez Garcia.
All right. Velasquez Garcia, could you spell your last name for me? No?
It's too hard for me, Senor.
You need the services of the Spanish interpreter.
Please.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Laura Bretaña, Spanish interpreter. The interpreter has already been sworn.
Good morning, Ms. Dahlia. This is Judge Bain calling from the BRC. I need your assistance with a victim in the booth here. Can you ask him to tell me his name and spell his last name?
Señor, por favor, diga su nombre y deletree su apellido.
Ángel A. Velázquez García. B. A. S. K. U. Z.
Engel A. Velázquez García. VELACQUEZ.
All right. Sir, can you raise your right hand and be sworn in?
Señor, por favor, levante la mano derecha para prestar juramento.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, none but the truth, so help you God?
Jura y promete que el testimonio que va a prestar será la verdad, solamente la verdad y nada más que la verdad.
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me how you know Mr. Alberto Rivera?
Señor, dígame de qué conoce usted a Alberto Rivera.
Es mi hijastro.
He is my son-in-law.
All right, you put your
No,
hand
I'm
down.
sorry.
There.
He's my stepson. I'm sorry.
Here you go. And do you want to have contact with your stepson while this case is pending?
Señor, ¿desea usted tener contacto con su hijastro mientras el caso está pendiente?
Repíteme otra vez.
Could you please repeat?
Do you want to have contact with your stepson while this case is pending?
¿Desea tener usted contacto con su hijastro mientras el caso está abierto?
Sí.
Yes.
Are you afraid of him?
¿Usted le teme?
Me escuché bien. Dígame otra vez.
I couldn't hear very well. Could you please repeat?
Are you afraid of him?
¿Usted le teme?
No.
No.
Has anything like this happened in the past?
¿Algo parecido a esto había ocurrido en el pasado?
Sí.
Yes.
If something like this were to happen in the future, do you feel comfortable contacting law enforcement?
Si algo parecido volviese a ocurrir en un futuro, ¿se sentiría usted cómodo comunicándose con las autoridades?
Sí.
Yes.
Did drugs or alcohol play a role in this incident?
¿Las drogas o el alcohol tuvieron algo que ver en este incidente?
No.
No.
When was the last incident that happened between you and your stepson?
¿Cuándo fue el último incidente que ocurrió entre usted y su hijastro?
El sábado.
Saturday.
All right. Before Saturday, when was that? When was the last incident that happened?
Y antes del sábado, el incidente previo al del sábado, ¿cuándo fue?
Eso fue hace como 4 años.
That happened approximately 4 years ago.
Okay. And does he live with you?
¿Él vive con usted?
Sí.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Alberto Rivera, I'm going to set your bond in this case an amount of $250.
Señor Alberto Rivera, se impone fianza en la cantidad de $250
It's going to come with pretrial release supervision.
y tendrá también supervisión a través del programa de libertad provisional.
Order that you have no contact with your stepfather.
Se le prohíbe todo tipo de contacto con su padrastro.
You are to maintain a separate residence from him.
Se le prohíbe vivir en la misma casa, tendrá que vivir en otra casa.
I'll give you a one-time return to the shared residence to retrieve any personal items you have at the location.
Se le permitirá regresar en una ocasión acompañado de las autoridades para que recoja allí cualquier pertenencia que pueda tener.
You may not possess any weapons or firearms.
Se le prohíbe la tenencia de armas y armas de fuego.
Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release.
Si usted es dueño de algún arma o arma de fuego, tendrá que entregarla a las autoridades en un plazo de 24 horas luego de ser puesto en libertad.
I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you in this case.
Se designa el abogado de oficio para que les represente.
You have a great day, sir.
Que tenga buen día, señor.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Interpreter.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Tell me your name, sir.
Rahman al-Michlat.
Say your last name again.
Al-Michlat.
Amijad. All right. Mr. Amijad, you're here in 2021 MM213AA for a charge of stalking, dating violence. I did find probable cause for your arrest as to that charge. Ma'am, can you tell me your name and spell your last name?
Karen Flores Escalante, Flores.
All right. Can you tell me how you know Mr. Amijad? I'm sorry. Can you raise your right hand and be sworn in first? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can put your hand down. Can you tell me how you know Mr. Amijad?
He's my ex-husband since May 13, 2021.
All right. And do you want to have contact with him during the course of this case?
No, I do not wish to have contact with him.
All right. All right, Mr. Amijad, I'm going to set your bond in this case in amount of $1,000, conditional your bond that you have no contact with the victim in this case. You may not return to the residence of this victim. I'll give you you may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. You may not possess any drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. I want to appoint a public defender to represent you in this case, sir. You have a great day.
Thank you.
Good day, ma'am. All right. Tell me your name, sir.
Randall Clark.
Mr. Clark, you're here in 2021 MM3702AO on charge of battery domestic violence. I did review the charging affidavit in this case. I did find probable cause for your arrest. Can somebody tell me these prior cases involving the same victim?
The 20 misdemeanor battery is a different victim. The 02 misdemeanor battery is also a different victim.
All right, Mr. Clark, we're going to set your bond in this case in an amount of $1,500. It's going to come with pretrial release supervision, that you have no contact with the victim in this case, that you maintain a separate residence from that victim. I'll give you a one-time return with law enforcement to retrieve any personal items you may have at that residence. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you in this case, sir. You have a great day.
Your Honor, was that 1,000 or 1,500?
1,500.
Thank you.
Can you tell me your name, ma'am?
My name?
Yes, ma'am.
Daphne Excellent.
Ms. Excellent, you're here in 2021 MM3689AO on charge of battery domestic violence. Did review the charging affidavit in this case, did find probable cause for your arrest. Sir, can you tell me your name and spell your last name?
Benjamin Baldor, Belidor.
All right. Can you raise your right hand and be sworn in? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
You put your hand down. Sir, can you tell me how you know Ms. Excellent?
My wife. She's
Can you- How do you know Ms. Excellent?
my wife.
You gotta speak up.
She is my wife.
There we go. And do you want to have contact with your wife during the course of this incident?
Yes, sir.
Has anything like this happened in the past?
Never. Never.
Are you afraid of her?
Nope. Not at all.
If something like this were to happen in the future, do you feel comfortable contacting law enforcement?
Yes, sir.
Did drugs or alcohol play a role in this incident?
No.
All right, excellent. I'm going to set your bond in this case amount of $250. It's going to come with pretrial release supervision that you have no hostile contact with your husband. Do you understand that?
What does that mean?
I'm going to tell you right now, to making sure you understand.
Okay.
You're allowed to have disagreements with him. You're allowed to be upset with him because he's not treating you the way that you want to be treated, or that he's left the toilet seat up, or anything else that would cause friction in a relationship. However, those disagreements cannot turn violent. They cannot turn threatening. They cannot come to the point whether he's going to call law enforcement or somebody that sees or hears you all arguing is going to call law enforcement. Because if that happens, you will be arrested. You will spend the remaining of your time here with me at the Orange County Jail. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. You understand that?
I do.
No weapons, no firearms? You understand what I'm saying, right?
I do, yeah.
All right, can I hear you? Want to appoint a public defender to represent you in this case? You have a great day, ma'am.
Do I get to keep this?
Yep. All right, tell me your name, sir. Got to slide over to a mic. There we go. Tell me your name. Mr. Flores, you're here in 2021 MM 3707 AO on a charge of battery domestic violence. They reviewed the charging affidavit in this case, did find probable cause for your arrest. Can you tell me your name, ma'am, and spell your last name?
Brittany Dean, Dean.
Ms. Dean, can you raise your right hand and be sworn in? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right. Can you tell me how you know Mr. Flores?
He's my boyfriend and the father of my kids.
All right. And do you want to have contact with Mr. Flores during the course of this case?
Yes.
Are you afraid of him?
No.
Has anything like this happened in the past?
No.
If something like this were to happen in the future, do you feel comfortable contacting law enforcement?
The reason why I'm answering it the way that I'm going to answer it is because it was law enforcement that was in the wrong, and Patrick was wrongfully arrested yesterday.
Okay.
And I don't feel comfortable with having the police come to my house because of the way that we were treated in our own household. And it was honestly was a black hate crime, to be honest.
I can't hear you. Say it again.
It was a black hate crime.
A black
The way
hate
that
crime?
they treated him was because he was black.
Well,
There was no statement written from me, no charges.
I want to ask you a few more questions before we get to that portion of your testimony. All right, are you familiar with his prior criminal history, including domestic violence?
Yes, I am aware.
All right. And did drugs and alcohol play a role in this incident?
No, it did not.
All right, say, do you have any questions for the witness?
No, Your Honor.
And
No
defense.
questions, Your Honor.
And let somebody ask me questions. What happened? You've been the victim. Were you the victim in these prior domestic violence arrests and convictions?
Yes.
Okay. So, I don't want you to respond, but before we jump to that, it was a black hate crime and he was wrongfully arrested. So, if law enforcement is looking at information, would they be concerned, in this general person, black, white, whatever, that they have another domestic violence call involving two people that have previous history of domestic violence? Don't you think they'll raise it up a little notch?
I understand to your concern of that, but they were not called over there due to domestic violence. They were called over there so I can get escorted so it didn't escalate to any other problems. Does that make sense?
Okay.
There was no statement from me. There was nothing. They were investigating all the people that were in my house that had nothing to do with it. And the only reason why they were in my house is because they had a flood into their house. And I allowed them to come stay over there so they have a safe place to stay for the night. They had nothing to do with it. and then trying to make it as if they did something wrong in my house, looking around. They had no probable cause to even come in my house looking around.
Okay. All right, ma'am. All right. Mr. Flores is going to set your bond in this case in the amount of $1,500. Condition of your bond is that you had no contact with the victim in this case, that you maintain a separate residence from this victim. I give you a one-time return with law enforcement to retrieve any personal items that you have at the location. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. I want to appoint the public defender to represent you in this case.
Based on the victim's testimony, Your Honor, why are you ordering may I ask the reasoning behind the no contact order?
Was the prior domestic violence history, where he has violation of probations for those previous cases. They made me a little concerned about him being able to follow my court orders. All right?
Those violations of PTR conditions, Your Honor.
Yep, those two as well. Does everybody understand that? Don't violate my orders. Because I tell everybody this, don't violate my orders, and people come back here with sad faces that they being held in custody. So don't violate my orders.
I never been here before, so
Oh, you may not been here in front of me or in Orange County or.
never been in jail here.
That's what I'm saying. Telling you, but it seems you have a pretty lengthy criminal history. So you've had some judges telling you things, ordering you to do stuff. So don't violate my orders. All right. Don't help him violate my orders. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
All right, because it's going to be on him, and he's going to suffer the consequences of that. You understand that?
Yes.
All right. Have a great day. All right, sir. Tell me your name.
Francisco Alvarez.
Francisco.
It's under Garcia.
All right. Are you also known as Francisco Garcia?
Yeah, no, it's Francisco Alvarez.
His out-of-county warrant case has Alvarez.
I tried to correct that information yesterday, but they didn't allow me to.
All right, Mr. Alvarez, you are here in 2021 MBM 331AW on charge of battery dating violence. I did review the charging affidavit, did find probable cause for your arrest. You're also arrested on an out-of-county warrant from Broward County in 2017 CF 5517. And in the Broward County case, you've been held in no bond, so we'll get you transported down to Broward County. But let me deal with your dating violence case. Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Can you tell me your name and spell your last name?
Victoria Serrano, Serrano.
Can you raise your right hand and be sworn in? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, put your hand down. Ma'am, how do you know Mr. Garcia? Or Mr. Alvarez, apologize.
He's my boyfriend.
And do you want to have contact with Mr. Alvarez while this case is pending?
Yes.
All right, can you cover your nose for me? Has anything like this happened in the past?
No.
If something like this were to happen in the future, do you feel comfortable contacting law enforcement?
Yes.
Are you afraid of him?
No, not at all.
Say again?
Not at all.
Did drugs or alcohol play a role in this incident?
I was intoxicated.
All right. And State, do you have any questions for the witness?
No, Your Honor.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Alvarez is going to set your bond in this case in an amount of $1,000. Condition of your bond that you have no hostile contact with the victim in this case. No hostile contact means this. She can be upset with you for doing whatever she thinks that causes friction in your relationship. You can be upset with her for maybe drinking too much and not, acting appropriately. However, those disagreements cannot turn violent. They cannot turn threatening. They cannot come to the point whether she's going to call law enforcement or somebody that sees or hears you all arguing is going to call law enforcement. Because if that happens, you'll be arrested on this case. You'll spend the remaining of your time here with me in the Orange County Jail. Do you understand that?
My goal today is to have this case closed.
Again?
My goal today was to have this case dismissed because these allegations are false.
Well, I'm not the judge for that.
Okay.
I'm the judge for release conditions.
Okay.
So release conditions I'm setting are $1,000 bond, no hostile contact with the victim, no weapons, no firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. Now, Broward County, I'm an Orange County judge. I can't do anything about that case.
Oh, no, I understand that clearly.
We want to get you down to Broward County as soon as we can, and you can resolve that case with the judge in Broward County. You understand that?
Understood.
But as an Orange County case, you have to go see the division judge, Judge Wayne Shoemaker, about this particular case. All right, I'm gonna appoint a public defender to represent you. You have a great day, sir. What you got down there, since you hanging out in my purview there? Judge Gibson should be in her chambers. She should be. Yeah.
One more question, Judge.
Yes, sir.
How long does Broward County have to retain me or detain me?
I'm not sure.
Is there a specific amount of time or?
There's no specific amount of time.
So I can't get out, I can't RR and go down there?
Not without talking to the Broward County judge. So you can ask your attorney to reach out to, or call the public defender's office down there, or have your public defender here, reach out to the public defender at the 17th Circuit.
Okay.
And see if they can speak with that judge, but most likely they probably want to see your face, since the case is from 2017, and they haven't seen you since then, so.
Understood.
At pretrial services, you sometimes give an estimate about counties picking up. You have one on Broward County.
Yeah, it's COVID land.
They have 72 hours to let us know if they're gonna come get them once they satisfy our charges. But for them to physically come get them, I don't think they do have a time frame.
Yep.
Thank you.
Because of COVID.
All right, have a good day, sir. Missing Mr. Isaac? First? What happened? I give you 2 things? Oh, sorry, oops. I'm losing my mind up here. Just going into. All right, Miss Hurst. Can you tell me your name?
My name is Caitlin Marie Hurst.
All right, Ms. Hurst, you're here in 2021 MM 3690AL on charge of battery domestic violence. Did review the charging affidavit in this case, did find probable cause for your arrest. Sir, can you tell me your name and spell your last name?
Carlos James Hurst, H-U-R-S-T.
Can you raise your right hand and be sworn in? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, put your hand down. Mr. Hurst, how do you know Miss Hurst?
This is my daughter.
And do you want to have contact with your daughter during the course of this case?
I absolutely do, sir.
And has anything like this happened in the past?
No, sir.
Are you afraid of her?
No, sir.
Did drugs and alcohol play a role in this incident?
No, sir. Your Honor, if I may.
Yeah, I was just trying to reread. I remember somebody saying somebody was addicted to drugs or.
Yes, sir. That was her boyfriend.
There was an allegation that this all started due to her potentially going fishing with her boyfriend, who allegedly is a drug user.
Okay.
I think that's what you're remembering, Your Honor.
All right. And I guess if something like this were to happen in the future, Mr. Hurst, do you feel comfortable contacting law enforcement?
I have no problem with law enforcement, sir.
All right. State, do you have any questions for the witness?
No, Your Honor.
And
Questions, Your Honor.
all right, Ms. Hurst, I'm going to set your bond in this case amount $250. It's going to cover pretrial release supervision. You are to have no hostile contact with your dad. No hostile contact means this. You can be upset with him. You can think he's an annoying parent, which most children think their parents are. But those disagreements cannot turn violent. They cannot turn threatening. They cannot come to a point where he's going to call law enforcement or somebody that sees or hears you all arguing is going to call law enforcement. Because if that happens, you're the one that's going to be arrested. You're the one that's going to spend the remaining of your time here with me at the Orange County Jail. Do you understand that?
I understand.
You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. I'm going to appoint a public defender to represent you in this matter. You have a great day, ma'am.
Thanks, you as well.
Have a great day, sir.
I appreciate your time today, sir.
Can you tell me your name, sir?
Ariel Isaacs.
Mr. Isaacs, you are here in 2021 MM 3705 AO on charge of battery domestic violence. Did review the charging affidavit in this case, did find probable cause for your arrest. Is there a victim for this?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
Okay.
He does otherwise qualify for PTR, Your Honor,
Yep.
no criminal history to speak of.
All right, sir, I'm going to set your bond in this case amount of $250. It's going to come with pretrial release supervision that you have no contact with the victim in this case. You need to maintain a separate residence from the victim. I'll give you a one-time return with law enforcement to retrieve any personal items you have at the location. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be returned to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. We condition your order is you are to continue supporting your wife. So I believe you possibly are the only one working in your relationship. So you gotta continue putting money in accounts, make sure the bills are paid, all those things are happening. You understand that?
Sir.
All right. You have a great day, sir.
Thank you.
Did you make that an official
Yes.
order?
Yep.
Oh, okay. To continue maintaining to provide for the wife, the household?
Yep. The problem with the other one, there's no sworn testimony, it's just him talking. The prior case I had with the Hispanic gentleman that was here, there was nothing in the allegations that, that led me to believe that. That was just him talking. So I didn't have any sworn testimony to support my findings. But in that case, she says pretty much that he's the only one working, he's the working husband, he provides all the money for the account. And I don't want this to turn into a situation where domestic violence continues because of money. Tell me your name, sir.
Kevin Moore.
Mr. Moore, you are here in 2021 MM 3698 AO on charge of battery, and 2021 CT 3919 AO on charge of driver license suspended. Did review the charging affidavit in these cases, did find probable cause for your arrest. Ma'am, can you tell me your name and spell your last name?
My first name is Shakori, last name Brown, like the color BROWN.
Ms. Brown, can you raise your right hand and be sworn in? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
You put your hand down. Ma'am, can you tell me how you know Mr. Moore?
He's my boyfriend.
And do you want to have contact with Mr. Moore during the course of this case?
Yes, sir.
Has anything like this happened in the past?
No.
If something like this were to happen in the future, do you feel comfortable contacting law enforcement?
Of course.
Were the children in the car during this case?
I'm sorry?
Were your children with you when this case happened?
No, sir.
Are you afraid of Mr. Moore?
No, sir.
Did drugs or alcohol play a role in this incident?
No, sir.
Are the children back home in Lauderhill?
Yes.
All right. All right. All right, Mr. Moore, as the 2021 MM 3698 AO, court is going to set your bond in that case in the amount of $1,000. It's going to come with pretrial release supervision, that you have no contact with the victim in this case, that you maintain a separate residence from this victim. I'll give you a one-time return with law enforcement to retrieve any personal items that you have at the location. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. You may not operate a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license. In 2021 CT 3919AO, of course, going to define probable cause, going to set your bond in that case about $250. It's going to come with pretrial release supervision that you have. You may not operate a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license. That's it, no weapons, no firearms. That's the other case. All right.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
I will allow you to turn to, you can go back to Lauderhill, which I don't think that should be a problem, but don't violate my orders when you return to Broward County. Yes, ma'am.
How do we go about with our kids?
Me with your kids.
Like, how do we, if we can't have contact?
Yep. For right now, until you speak to Judge Wayne Shoemaker, he makes a better plan for time sharing and things like that with the children. It might be a third party down there in Lauderhill. I'm guessing that you're staying with your mom or grandma or somebody down there that they may be able to facilitate the time sharing between the children. But based on his failure to appear history, based on the facts of this particular case, the court doesn't believe that a contact is appropriate at this moment between you and him, but he still has to take care, make sure the kids got what they need for summer camp, whatever they got going on, for school next year if it continues to go on. Make sure that he's supporting his children. That's his duty as father, okay?
Okay.
All right, have a great day, sir. Tell me your name, sir.
Alberto Rivera.
Mr. Rivera, you're here in 2021 MM 3701 AO on charge of battery domestic violence. They reviewed the charging affidavit. In this case, did find probable cause for your arrest. Ma'am, can you tell me your name and spell your last name?
Jaritza Vargas, Vargas.
Can you raise your right hand and be sworn in? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, none but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. Ma'am, can you tell me how you know Mr. Rivera?
He is the father of two of my kids.
All right. And do you want to have contact with Mr. Rivera during the course of this case?
Yeah.
Are you afraid of him?
No.
Has anything like this happened in the past?
No.
Can you?
No.
If something like this were to happen in the future, do you feel comfortable contacting law enforcement?
Yes.
Are you aware of his domestic violence history?
Yes.
State, you have any questions for the witness?
No, Your Honor.
No questions, Your Honor. There was an updated PTR sheet that.
Yeah, we got it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Rivera, I'm going to set your bond in this case in the amount of $500. It's going to come with pretrial release supervision that you have no hostile contact with the victim in this case. No hostile contact means this. You can be upset with her. You can not agree with her choices or agree with how your relationship is going. However, those disagreements cannot turn violent. They cannot turn threatening, like the language that was used during the course of this case. They cannot come to the point whether she's going to call law enforcement or somebody that sees or hears you arguing is going to call law enforcement. Because if that happens, you will be arrested. You're spending the remainder of your time here with me at the Orange County Jail. Do you understand that?
Oh, yes, Your Honor.
All right. You're not possessing any drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. You'll be subject to random drug and alcohol testing at your expense.
That what?
No drugs, no alcohol. You'll be subject to random drug and alcohol testing at your expense. I want to appoint a public defender to represent you in this case. You have a great day, sir.
Your Honor, was there a condition of no weapons?
I'm sorry, well, yep, no weapons, no firearms. Any weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. You understand? Can you tell me your name, ma'am? Ms. Wells, you're here in 2021 MM3713AO. I was gonna find probable cause for battery, because that's what the statute is. These subs, little slight dashes,
Yes, Your Honor, I believe it's
they
due
cause
to
more
the
confusion than.
agency. So it came in.
Oh, well, she was arrested under 784.03, which is battery, so I'll find probable cause for battery. Huh? I am. No, it came out weird. It says principal in the first degree to a battery, which is literally, I don't even know how that's possible, but how that even like is a legal sounding charge, or what facts would kind of equal that. All right, ma'am, I'm going to set your bond in this case. The amount of $250 is going to come with pretrial release supervision, that you have no contact with the victim in this case, that you maintain a separate residence from this victim. I'll give you one-time return with law enforcement to retrieve any personal items you have at the location. You may not possess any weapons or firearms. The weapons or firearms you have need to be turned over to law enforcement within 24 hours of your release. Ms. Wells, do you see a mental health professional, psychologist, psychiatrist?
No.
Are you taking any medications? No? I can't hear you.
No, I don't.
All right. All right, so I'm going to order that you not possess or consume any drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. You understand that?
Mhm.
Want to appoint a public defender to represent you? You have a great day, sir. Let me start, ma'am. Looking at, if I'm looking at more people. I had Zard bonded, and I have Fields is my next person.
Yes, Your
Can you tell me your name, ma'am?
Kayla Fields.
Ms. Fields, you're here in 2020 MM2866AO, 2020 CT 2684AO, 2020 CT 5222AO on failure to appear warrants. The judges in those cases set your bonds in the amount of $1,000 on each count. Each case, I apologize. Your bonds remain as set. I'm not taking any action in 2021 CF 2660AO.
Your Honor, state did convey an offer on the duelist, the 5222 case, and the other duelist, the 2684 case. State did not convey an offer on the petty theft, however.
Right.
I didn't get a chance to speak with her in the back. May I have a few moments, please, Your Honor?
Yep.
Did Concepcion also bond?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I had a whole bunch of people that bonded, and then all of a sudden it disappeared.
Your Honor, I spoke with Ms. Fields. She's planning on getting her driver's license and having those charges dealt with downtown, so we would not like to enter a plea on those, Your Honor.
All right.
This bond.
No, she's not resolving her cases. Bonds are going to stay $1,000 on each case and not taking any action on the 2021 CF case. And then I had Keyvan bonded.
Yes, keep them bonded, Your Honor.
All right. And I have Price, my next person. Come here, we're done. Can you tell me your name, sir? Cover your face. Whoa, cover your face. Cover your face. There we go.
Larry Price.
Mr. Price, you're here in 2021 CT 3925AO on a charge of driver license suspended. Did review the charging affidavit, did find probable cause for your arrest, states an offer to resolve his case.
Yes, Your Honor, a withhold and credit time served.
All right, Mr. Price, do you want to accept the state's offer of a withhold adjudication of guilt credit time, sir?
Your Honor, I spoke with Mr. Price in the back, and we discussed the facts of his case. He would just like to receive a bond on the driving while license suspended, and we would ask no action on the out-on-bond case. He's, other than that case, his criminal history is pretty slim. There are facts in the case he would like to challenge, Your Honor. On the current charge, we wouldn't like to enter a plea today.
All right.
It would give him
All
the
right.
opportunity to deal with those cases. with our office
One second.
downtown.
Oh, well, let me talk to Madam Clerk. $650 a week. Even you have $600 in debt over a month? I thought don't you like net total? Is it gross amount? Is that what you use? Okay. All right. Mr. Price, I'm asking, I was making sure, you make $650 a week? How much money do you make a week?
Like 1,300.
A week?
2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks?
Yeah, the 600 was for the how much I pay for rent.
All right. So it's 1,000, how much every 2 weeks?
And 300.
1,300 every 2 weeks?
So $650 weekly.
Yeah, it's like 650. Yeah, that's it, 650 a week. All right. Well, Mr. Price, it doesn't seem like you qualify for the services of the public defender. So I'm not going to appoint them to represent you. I'm going to stay your bonds in this case in the amount of $500 as to your driver's suspended account. Condition your bond is you not operate a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license. You're out on bond in 2021 CF 3088 AO. Of course, going to revoke that bond, going to set a new bond at $1,000. Condition of your bond that you not have any contact with the victim in that case, you not return to the scene, the location where you're arrested. You're going to have to hire your own attorney, so you can either you're going to represent yourself or go interview some possible attorneys to hire.
Call us.
Morning, sir. Can you tell me your name?
Andrew Wiest.
Mr. Weiss, you're here in 2021 CT 3930AO on charge of DUI or property damage or personal injury. Did review the charging affidavit in that case, did find probable cause for your arrest. PTR. I've had this charge in the past, and people told me that they don't qualify for property damage.
You said PTR told you that?
I've gotten sheets that say they don't qualify, and I asked them, do they qualify
Yeah, this charge qualifies.
for property damage and personal injury or crashes. I just want to make sure that
Yes.
I want to get kicked back. I see him tomorrow because I put him on PTR.
No, Your Honor, the charge qualifies.
All right. All right, Mr. Luis, I'm going to release you on pretrial release in this case. Condition your pretrial release. You're not possessing any drugs, alcohol without a valid prescription. You're subject to random drug and alcohol testing. You may not operate a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license. I want to appoint a public defender to represent you in this case. You have a great day, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. All right. Tell me your name, sir. All right, let's plug it out. You're here in 2021 CT 887AW on a driver's suspended as a subsequent offender. You're here for arraignment. You want to?
We'll enter a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
All right. Was there an offer you wanted to consider this morning?
Your Honor, the state did convey an offer. However, I think it came in with felony charges, so I think they're waiting for it to be consolidated.
So they transferred this felony case to here and then the county court, and then there's another felony case? I just want to make sure, because this is a transfer case from 2021 CF 3257AO.
3256 AO.
256 is the other felony
This
case?
is the other felony, yes, Your Honor.
So we don't consolidate this with another?
I'm not sure. I don't know if that's potentially why they're not accepting the offer, but
All
I
right.
did convey an offer of an adjudication.
But can you set a bond on this case as well, Your Honor?
You can file a bond motion and then we can have that discussion.
I'm trying.
Well, it sounds like you've been here for long for other charges too, so.
Drug charges.
this particular charge has to do with you driving as a subsequent offender without a suspended license. I have no idea what your other case is. The felony case, I have no idea what that other case is about. Enter plea of not guilty, we set him for a pretrial on Division 85.
Pretrial conference will be June 21st at 9 a.m. courtroom 4A.
Good afternoon, sir. Can you tell me your name?
Good afternoon, sir. Robert Burke.
So you're here in 2020 CT 755AA on a charge of leaving the scene of an accident with property damage. That's a second-degree misdemeanor, punishable up to 60 days in the county jail and a $500 fine. Represented by the public defender's office, was an offer conveyed in this case?
Not at this time, Your Honor, due to history.
Okay.
We'll enter a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
All right, sir, we're going to set you for Division 85 in this case.
Division 85 pretrial conference date will be June 21st at 9 a.m. courtroom 4A.
All right. All right, make sure you keep in contact with your attorney. Have a great day, sir.
And I'm trying to get into a nursing facility.
I'll put a note in the case as well.
Can you tell me your name, sir?
Drakes the third.
Mr. Pritchard, you're here in 2019 CT 6390AO, as well as an unaccompanied traffic ticket in 2019 TR 109548AO.
No, this.
Mr. Drakes, I'm sorry. Please, Pritchard, oh, sorry, apologize. Sorry, Mr. Drakes, apologize for that. You're here in 2021 MO 2791AO on a charge of battery. That is a first-degree misdemeanor. It's punishable up to 1 year in the county jail and a $1,000 fine. You're represented by the public defender's office. Was an offer considered this morning?
No, Your Honor, due to being a battery and a true victim crime.
Your Honor, we'll enter a plea of not guilty.
All right, Mr. Drakes, we'll set you for Division 61 pretrial conference.
June 28th at 1:30 p.m. courtroom 6B.
All right, have a great day. Keep in contact with your attorney. All right, Mr. Pritchard in 2019 CT 6390AO. He's represented by the public defender's office. Do you want to waive his arraignment?
We'll waive the appearance and enter a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
All right, we'll send him for Division 62. Or sorry, if it's a VOP, I'm sorry, it's a waive his arraignment for his violation of probation. We'll send him for violation. You want to enter a denial?
We'll enter a denial, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, we will set him for Division 62, violation of probation status date.
BLP status currently June 21st, 9:30 a.m. courtroom 9B.
All righty. I gotta wave at me, man. This got me rolling here. All right, tell me your name, ma'am.
Robin Richardson.
Ms. Richardson, you're here in 2021 MM173AA on a charge of battery domestic violence as a first-degree misdemeanor. It's punishable up to 1 year in the county jail and a $1,000 fine. You're represented by the public defender's office.
We'll enter a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
Ms. Richardson, we're going to accept your plea of not guilty. We're going to set you for Division 50 pretrial conference on
July 6th, 1:30 p.m., courtroom 7C.
All right, keep in contact with your attorney. Have a great day, ma'am. Tell me your name, sir.
Stacy Sawyer.
Mr. Sawyer, you're here in 2021 MM2750AO on a charge of trespass and occupied structure, refusal to leave. That is a first-degree misdemeanor. It's punishable up to 1 year in the county jail and a $1,000 fine.
He has another case as well, Your Honor.
Sorry, oops. And you also have 2021 MM2817AO for another trespass and occupied structure, refusal to leave. As a first-degree misdemeanor, punishable up to 1 year in the county jail and a $1,000 fine. You're represented by the public defender's office in both of your cases. You have a plea.
We would like to enter a plea of not guilty on both cases, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Sawyer, of course, going to accept your plea of not guilty in your cases. Going to set you for division. Going to give him one division. Let's transfer 21 MM2750 to Division 81 and give him one date for Division 81.
Should it be transferred to the lower case number?
Yep, that's what I did. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, other way. Sorry, other way around. Apologize. I thought 2750 is going to get 2021 2817.
Okay.
So everybody's going to 82. Apologize for that.
That's okay. Division 82, pretrial conference date will be July 12th, 10:30 a.m., courtroom 10B.
Can you tell me your name, sir?
Melvin Williams.
Mr. Williams, you're here in 2021 MM2290AO on charge of trespass other than a structure of conveyance as a first-degree misdemeanor. It's punishable up to 1 year in the county jail and a $1,000 fine. You're represented by the public defender's office.
No.
1 second.
We'll enter a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
All right. Will the court accept your plea of not guilty and we'll set you for a pretrial conference in Division 84?
Division 84, pretrial conference July 12th, 9 a.m., courtroom 4B.
All right. Does anybody have anything else for the better of the order?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
All right.
Oh, Your Honor.
I'll see y'all tomorrow.
All right, we are back on the record at 1:33 p.m. on Tuesday, June 1st, 2021. If I could have the attorneys put their appearance on record, please.
Taylor May on behalf of the Office of the State Attorney.
Letizia George on behalf of the Office of the Public Defender.
All right, we're starting with interpreter cases, right? All right. With interpreter case.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is Carlos Morales, State Certified Spanish Court Interpreter, previously sworn.
Good afternoon. I do have one individual in need of your services who's coming into the courtroom right now. If I could have you connect to the headset in just a moment. He has the headset on now, if you can ask if he can hear you.
We're connected.
Sir, please tell me your name.
Jorge Iván Ortiz Buil.
Jorge Ivan Ortiz Buil.
Buil.
All right, sir, in 21 CT 280080, a capias was issued for your arrest for failing to appear for arraignment on a charge of driving while license suspended. The bond on that capias is $1,000, and I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. You're also here in 21 CF 640180, charged with trafficking in fentanyl, 4 grams or more, possession of cocaine with intent to sell or deliver with a firearm, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you in this case as well. There is probable cause for your arrest. What says the state as to bond?
Your Honor, state would just ask for reasonable bond on all counts. Count 1 and count 2 are both F1s.
All right, Ms. George, do you wish to be heard as to bond?
Yes, Your Honor, I would just argue that he has no criminal convictions. Last failure to appear was in 2018, and I would ask that you take all of that into consideration when setting the bond amount.
All right, thank you. On count 1, I'll set your bond at $25,000. On count 2, $25,000. And on count 3, $150. You're not allowed to possess or consume any controlled substance without a valid prescription. Do you understand?
But I also have addiction problems with cocaine.
I understand. That's something you'll want to talk to your attorney about. You're also not allowed to possess a weapon of any kind, firearm, or ammunition. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Do we have the names of anyone else that was in the vehicle?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
All right. Are there any other conditions the state would request?
We have the driver, Curiel Feliciano Nieves.
Right, you're not allowed to have any contact with that person. Do you understand that?
Okay.
And you're not allowed to have contact with any known drug dealers. All right, good luck, sir.
I would like to get some rehab. Can I request that?
Not at this time. This court doesn't have jurisdiction to order you into any kind of rehab. You'll want to talk to your attorney about that and see if they can talk to the judge who's hearing your case.
Very well.
All right, good luck. I believe that's all we need from the interpreter. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Ernest. Thank you.
Sir, please tell me your name.
Stephen Gomez.
I don't have that. Are you also known as Yesel Cabrera?
No, Yesel Cabrera Ramos beating me up.
I'm sorry?
Yesel Cabrera Ramos is beating me up.
Your Honor, there are prior Baker Acts, so that may be
I see.
a mental health issue.
Did fingerprints come back from pretrial regarding correct identification?
Not yet.
Okay.
What's your date of birth, sir?
Stephen Gomez, all right. I can't give you a date of birth. Yes, I could. All right. 10-380.
All right. Are you ever sometimes known as Kendall Revenue?
No.
Edwin Pagan Cabrera?
No.
Cabrera Ramos?
No.
Your Honor, looking at previous pictures in IMS, this is Yasel Cabrera.
All right, I think we have a mix-up with your name, sir, but I think I have the right case in front of me. You're here because you were arrested in 21 MM 3699, charged with indecent exposure and trespass on property after warning. I reviewed the probable cause affidavit. I do find probable cause exists, and I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Can he be screened for mental health pretrial release? Yes. All right, I'd like to order that he be screened for that. If he qualifies, sir, you'll be placed on pretrial release with some special mental health conditions. One condition of your release is you're not allowed to go back to the Circle K at 1605 South Cimarron Boulevard. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And you're not allowed to have any contact with Henry Lugo either. If he doesn't qualify for mental health pretrial release, then I'll stay his bonds at $500 on each count. All right, good luck, sir.
The person he no contact with, that's a victim?
Witness.
Witness, okay.
Please tell me your name.
Desiree Victoria Santiago, November 20th, 2001.
Thank you. You're here in 21 CF 638980, charged with aggravated assault and criminal mischief. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. I reviewed the probable cause affidavit. I do find probable cause exists in this case. Your bond will be $2,500 on count 1 and $250 on count 2. You're not allowed to have any contact with the victim in this case. Do you understand what no contact means?
Yeah, nobody can visit me.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Nobody can visit me. I'm straight, but I know to take the bus home 36.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't hear you. I need you to get close to the microphone.
I said I could take the bus home after I get my 6 months to a year over with. I'm just waiting to get my first phone call.
So we can't dispose of this case today. This is a felony.
No, I understand that and I respect that. I just want to be real. She ran up on me first. What happened?
Don't talk
was-
about the
No,
fact-
I'll be quiet. I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to you. Don't be disrespectful. Do not cut me off. I'm talking to the judge.
All right, excuse me, ma'am. I need you to calm down.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me explain what we're doing here today. Before you say anything
I
else,
just want to be real.
Ma'am.
I want to tell you what happened.
before you say anything else, let me explain what we're doing here today. I had to review the probable cause affidavit, determine if there's probable cause for your arrest, and then set your bond conditions. At this point, we can't dispose of the case. You can say anything you want to me, but everything you say is being recorded and can be used against you later. So the prosecutor is here in the courtroom. So if you talk about the facts of the case and you make any admissions, even statements that you might not think are admissions could be, and they can pull this record and it can be used against you later. So I've already appointed the public defender's office to represent you, and Ms. George there is a representative from the public defender's office. She's advised you not to talk about the facts. But again, you can tell me anything you want. I just want to make sure you understand that it won't affect what we're doing here today. Do you understand that? Yeah. Okay. So you understand that you can't have any contact with the victim? You also understand you're not allowed to return to the stayable suites located at 8700
Echo Lodge. That's it.
South Orange Blossom Trail. You can't go back there? You understand?
That's where I live. I fought her at a plaza. Ain't nobody gonna kick me out where I live. No disrespect. You feel me?
You can't live there. So I'll allow you to,
With my father, when I get out of jail, I'll take the bus there.
so you can't go back there except one time. You're allowed to return with law enforcement, but they have to be with you. Do you understand that?
Uh-huh.
You're not allowed to possess a weapon of any kind, firearm or ammunition. You're not allowed to possess or consume any controlled substance without a valid prescription. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other conditions the state would request?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck, ma'am.
Bendición.
I can't hear her. Please tell me your name.
Christopher Lewis.
You're here in 21 MM 3695 AO, charged with resisting an officer without violence and disturbing the peace. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Ms. George, did you wish to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe there is an offer from the state of an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, in order to resolve the case today. I did go over all the rights Mr. Lewis will be giving up. He understands those rights, and he would like to accept the state's offer here today.
Does your client understand that his bond can still be revoked and may be revoked? He's out on bond for a violent case, and this is a very violent case, so it's likely that I will revoke his bond.
Yes, Your Honor, I explained all of that. However, I ask that you consider the fact that he's resolving these cases today, and consider if you are inclined to revoke in double, being that he's resolving them today. And if you look, I don't see he has any other criminal history.
All right, thank you. Mr. Lewis, please raise your right hand to be sworn.
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
All right, you heard what Ms. George said to the court today. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand the rights you're giving up by entering a plea of guilty or no contest today?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions for me about those rights?
No, ma'am.
Does he have a plea form in front of him?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I want you to take a look at that form. Those are the rights that Ms. George has talked to you about.
Okay.
Tell me if you have any questions after you read that.
No, ma'am.
All right, and you understand that if you enter a plea of guilty or no contest today and you're on probation, that will violate your probation?
Yes, ma'am. I'm not on probation.
I understand. I just have to advise you of that because I don't know everything about you, and just in case you are, I need to make sure you understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea could subject you to deportation. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Other than the state's offer, has anyone threatened you or promised you anything in order to get you to enter this plea?
No, no, ma'am.
All right, at this time, how do you wish to plead to the charges of resisting without violence and disorderly conduct?
No contest.
I'll accept your plea of no contest. I find it's freely and voluntarily made. What was the agreement?
An adjudication, credit time served.
I'll adjudicate you guilty of each charge, give you credit for the 2 days that you've been in jail. I'll order that you pay court costs. I'll give you a year to pay those court costs from the date of release. Hold on one moment. All right, was there anything else in that plea agreement?
No, Your Honor.
Maybe the state can help me understand this as well. It looks to me like after reading the affidavit, there were several other charges that they could have arrested him for, but they didn't. Do you think part of that is because he was cooperative?
I also believe are you speaking about the potential cannabis? And I believe that there was a co-defendant, and the co-defendant had some charges as well.
All right.
I believe we saw Miss Wells this morning.
Can the state look up the out on bond case?
Yes, Your Honor. We ended up filing an attempted manslaughter by act, a fleeing and attempting to elude, and a reckless driving. So 2 F3s and an M1. The overall synopsis of that case was a traffic stop where he fled with the law enforcement officer holding onto the vehicle, is the overall understanding of that case.
What's the manslaughter? Attempted manslaughter?
It was It was a traffic stop. The law enforcement officer walked up to the vehicle. There is a co-defendant who opens the driver door and screams at Mr. Lewis to just drive. The Florida Highway Patrol grabs onto the co-defendant and struggles with him at the door. He accelerates away. The highway patrolman is holding on to the door and is dragged approximately 120 feet before the officer lets go from the vehicle.
All right, thank you. I also showed that he has no prior history. Is that what the state has?
This 2000. I have a 2020 non-arrest robbery, sudden snatching that we didn't file. I have this 21 resisting and disorderly. I have an 18 juvenile petty theft. I have a 17 juvenile petty theft. The case he's out on bond for. I have a 17 juvenile non-arrest for sexual battery that we did not go forward on. A 17 non-arrest juvenile resisting without that we didn't file. And a 20 mm possession of cannabis that we no-billed. So there's been arrest, however.
No conviction.
No convictions.
Mr. Lewis, how old are you?
I'm 21 now.
Oh, convictions for the juvenile petty thefts.
Right. Look, I'm one of those judges that I don't do a lot of lecturing because I don't think it really makes a difference. But I just have to tell you, you're young and you have your whole life in front of you.
Yes, ma'am.
It looks like there's a pattern here and you got to change that pattern. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to give you the chance because I'm not going to revoke your bond.
Yes, ma'am.
But if you come back because you get arrested again and you see me, I will likely revoke that because a condition of bond is you can't commit new law violations. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't make me regret it.
No.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Sir, please tell me your name.
Lance Miller.
All right, you're here in 21 MM 3704, charged with trespass on property after warning and camping where prohibited. There is probable cause. Was there an offer?
Yes, Your Honor, there's an adjudication credit time served on the trespass and a withhold credit time served on the camping.
Ms. George, as a friend of the court, did you have an opportunity to discuss that with him?
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke with Mr. Miller. We talked about all the rights he would be giving up. He understands those rights, and he would like to accept the state's offer here today.
All right, Mr. Miller, please raise your right hand.
Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
All right, you heard what Ms. George just said. You do understand the rights you'll be giving up if you enter a plea of guilty or no contest today? Do you have any questions for me about the rights? Has anyone threatened you or promised you anything other than the state's offer to get you to enter a plea? All right, just take a look at that form that's in front of you. Those are the rights she spoke with you about. I want you to review that. Let me know when you're done and if you have any questions. All right. You understand if you're on probation, this plea could violate that.
Excuse me, ma'am?
If you're on probation, this plea will violate that. And if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea could deport you. You understand that? All right, one last time. Do you have any questions for me about this? All right, how do you wish to plead to trespass on property after warning and camping where prohibited? I'll accept your plea of no contest. I find this freely and voluntarily made. On count one, I'll adjudicate you guilty, give you credit for the 2 days that you've been in jail. On count two, I'll withhold adjudication, also give you credit for the 2 days that you've been in jail. I have to order that you pay court costs. I'll give you a year to pay that. I also have to order, well, I'm going to order that you are not allowed to return to Festival Park on Robinson Street. You know where that is? You have to answer out loud.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
All right, don't go back there, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand? All right, anything else I'm missing?
No, Your Honor.
All right, good luck, sir. Please tell me your name. 21MM3700. You're here charged with trespass on property after warning. There is probable cause. Was there an offer?
Yes, Your Honor, an adjudication prior time is served, no return.
And,
And he's out on bond for a trespass. Oh, no, he's out on bond on trafficking.
Trafficking.
Oh,
And Your Honor, I did speak with Mr. Proctor. We went over all the rights he would be giving up. He understands those rights, and he would like to accept the state's offer here today. And we would just ask that you consider him accepting the state's offer and resolving the case, and not revoking his out on bond case.
but you did talk to him about the fact that that could happen even if he enters a plea today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, raise your right hand, please.
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, sir, you heard what Ms. George just said. Is that what you want to do here today? You understand all the rights you'll be giving up if you enter a plea of guilty or no contest?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions for me about the rights? Has anyone threatened you or promised you anything other than the state's offer to get you to enter a plea? You understand if you're on probation, this plea could violate that. And if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea could deport you. All right, you also understand that even though you're entering a plea to this trespass, because you have this open case for which you're out on bond, this court might still revoke that bond. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, how do you wish to plead to trespass on property after warning? I'll accept your plea of no contest. I find it's freely and voluntarily made. I'll adjudicate you guilty, give you credit for the 2 days that you've been in jail. I'll order that you're not allowed to return to, do we have an address? 1619 29th Street? Is that a house or a business? Oh, it's a business.
Yes, Your Honor, it's a business.
Do you know the name of the business?
Not off of this affidavit, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Proctor, I want to make sure you understand, because I don't have the name of the business, but do you know where 1619 29th Street is? Okay, it's what?
It's a barber shop.
It's a barber shop? I'm going to order you can't return there. So you understand that? You don't work there or anything? Okay, so don't go back there. Anything else in that agreement?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so you're out on bond in 21 CF 5813. Oh, you have 30 days to appeal in writing. You're out on bond for trafficking in meth over 14 grams and possession of drug paraphernalia. What says the state?
Your Honor, given the affidavit in this case saying that that location is generally used for narcotic sales, and given that he's out on bond for trafficking meth, he just picked up that case, I believe, on the 19th of May. I may be off a day. 5813. Yes, the arrest was the 18th of May, so it's been approximately 2 weeks. I would just ask that you revoke and double, given that the place where he picked up the trespass is known for narcotic sales. The reporter said it was known for narcotic sales, and he was out on bond for a significant amount of drugs.
Your Honor, I would just argue that even when they searched my client when he was picked up, he had no drugs on him. As he just stated, it's a barber shop. He was in the area when the police approached him because it's a known drug area. He did resolve the case today, the trespass case today, so I would just ask that you take all of that into consideration and not revoke not double the bond amount. It's already high enough as it is, and he's unemployed, Your Honor.
What were you doing at the barber shop?
I was finna get a haircut. They never told me that I was trespassed.
I see. Seems reasonable.
Yes.
Oh, no, I wasn't shaking my head. I'm thinking. Sorry, that wasn't for you. Just thinking out loud.
Your Honor, Mr. Proctor's 18 and has a pretty significant and violent juvenile history.
You're 18? All right, here's what I'm going to do. At this time, I'm not going to revoke that bond. Don't make me regret this. You understand?
Your Honor, for the record, he did also have a 21 CF, possession of cocaine with intent to sell and deliver, possession of cannabis with intent to sell and deliver, loitering and prowling, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I believe we did not go forward on it. However, there does seem to be a significant drug history.
What happened with that case?
We didn't file an information. I'm not sure. There's not notes.
All right, well, I'm not going to take that into account at this time. I'm not going to revoke your bond, but you understand that a condition of being out on bond is you can't get arrested for any new law violations. So if you get arrested and you come back and see me, which is a 50-50 chance at this point that you will, I'm likely going to revoke it next time. You understand? Good luck.
I don't know who this guy is.
I don't know why.
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am.
Taylor is behavior.
All right, this is 21 MM 332AW, resisting without violence and trespass on property after warning. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent him.
We'll waive, Your Honor, the appearance.
All right, there is probable cause. I'll stay the bonds at $500 on each count. Not allowed to return to Circle K, located at 14990 West Colonial Drive. I'm inclined to revoke his bond on his out on bond case unless you can give me a reason not to, or revoke his ROR.
Your Honor, based on the notes that I saw, we have competency concerns. Nothing has been filed with the court yet, which is why Mr. Taylor not appearing in court isn't out of the ordinary. But there are concerns with comp issues. So if you are inclined to revoke that petty theft, I would just ask that you revoke and double the bond amount as opposed to holding him at no bond. The attorney on that case actually wants to have him evaluated.
All right, any objection from the state?
I have a note that he pled to this back in 2018. I'm checking the clerk's site real fast.
Out on bond case?
Yes.
He pled to it in 2018?
I have a note in my system that says that. I just wanted to check it real fast before we did anything.
Well, I'm not going to revoke it, so it's okay.
Okay.
However,
I have it still open.
I'd like to have him screened for mental health pretrial release with all the same conditions if he qualifies. If he doesn't, then I'll leave the bonds. All right.
Your Honor.
Jean-Baptiste bonded.
Wait, who bonded?
Jean-Baptiste.
I can't hear that. We can't hear you.
Jean-Baptiste.
Oh, I don't have that one.
Behavior. Mental health.
Okay. This is 21 MO 643, violation of state misdemeanors. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office. Counselor, she's also mental health.
I'll waive the appearance, Your Honor.
Given the charges and the mental health issues, what say y'all as to bond?
Your Honor, I would just ask that you not revoke her out on bond charge.
I don't have an out on bond. I just,
Do I?
for purposes of this one, should we?
She's out on bond, actually. It looks like on the updated face sheet that I received, Your Honor.
Oh, that's one of them. Got it.
She has been deemed, looks like incompetent to proceed.
Oh, I see that now.
So I just ask that you take no action on the out on bond.
All right, I'll take no action on the out on bond case, and I'll stay the bonds in this original case.
They would just ask for the condition of no return.
And I'll add the condition no return. Please tell me your name.
Cherry Bush.
21 CF 6393AO. You're here charged with possession of cocaine. I reviewed the probable cause affidavit. I do find probable cause exists. I'll appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. Your bond is $1,000. You're not allowed to possess or consume any controlled substance without a valid prescription. Do you understand? You have to answer out loud.
Yes, ma'am.
You're also not allowed to have contact with any known drug dealers. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
You're out on bond. You were released on your own recognizance in 21 MM 3402. At this time, I'm going to revoke that and set a monetary bond of $500 on that charge. Do you understand?
It's 200 to get out.
I'm sorry?
How much is it to,
I can't hear you. Get close to the microphone.
how much is it to bond out?
It's your bond is $500.
For everything?
No, for the prostitution charge, I revoked the ROR and I set a monetary bond of $500. And the cocaine charge is $1,000. So altogether, it's $1,500. All right. Good luck, ma'am. Please tell me your name.
Matthew Chisholm.
21 CF 6405. You're here charged with driving while license canceled, suspended, or revoked as a habitual offender. There is probable cause, and I'll appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. Your bond is $2,500. You understand you cannot drive without a valid Florida license.
Yes, ma'am.
You're out on bond for a driving while license suspended with knowledge. At this time, I'm inclined to revoke that bond.
Your Honor, I would just argue that it's a nonviolent offense. So I just ask that you take that into consideration and consider doubling the bond amount, as opposed to holding him in no bond.
What says the state?
Your Honor, I would just point to his last conviction was in April of 2021, which was also a duelist. This seems to be a significant problem. So state would ask that you revoke. However, I'll leave it within your discretion whether you want to set it at 0 or at least double or set a higher monetary bond to stress the significance.
So, sir, what the court is struggling with is what reasonable conditions of bond can this court place on you that you're going to comply with?
I'm not going to drive anymore, I promise. I went to go see my mom.
Don't talk about-
My mom's in the hospital, and that's the only reason I left my house last night to go see her. I live right where they caught me.
Do you know what it will take to get your license back?
I have to get a hardship license.
And it's going to be suspended for at least 5 years. It could be suspended for another 5 years.
I believe he has potentially a 5-year suspension because he's had a 2021 that he pled to, the 2018 he pled to.
Yeah.
I believe he potentially has enough that he'll be in a 5-year.
The problem is, every time you drive and you get arrested for this, it adds more reasons that your license is suspended and more costs that you're going to have to pay in order to get a license. So you understand that every time you do this, you're making the situation worse and worse.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to revoke that bond and I'll double it. So now that bond is $1,000, but I'm not going to hold you at no bond. Good luck.
So I have a bond, I can get out?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Please tell me your name.
Demarius Daniels.
21 CF 6400. You're here charged with possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver with a weapon, possession of cannabis greater than 20 grams with a weapon, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, 2 counts, possession of ammunition by a convicted felon, and possession of MDMA and possession of a controlled substance. At this time, I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you.
Your Honor, with the possession of cannabis with intent to sell with a weapon and the second charge of possession of cannabis with a weapon, I would just ask that you look at the 4 corners of the arrest affidavit and consider RORing him on at least one of those They already charged him twice with the possession of a firearm as well. So I ask that you take all of that into consideration, or at least treat it as a subsidiary. I'm not sure if there's enough to charge him with the cannabis, with the weapon. I don't know if they can split it up like that, but.
What says the state?
Your Honor, I think for IA purposes, it's sufficient. However, I understand defense counsel's argument. State has no objection to you finding count 2 as a subsidiary.
Yeah, I think I understand your argument. And I don't know that the state can sustain that charge.
At trial?
Right, double charges at trial. I do believe they can with the firearm. I'm not sure about the 2 counts of cannabis possession, but I do think there's probable cause. However, I will treat it as subsidiary.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so your bond is going to be $15,000 on count 1 and $150 on count 2, $4,000 on count 3, $150 on count 4, $5,000 on count 5, $150 on count 6, and $150 on count 7. You're not allowed to possess or consume any controlled substance without a valid prescription. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not allowed to possess a weapon of any kind, firearm, or ammunition. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You're also not allowed to have contact with any known drug dealers. You're also not allowed to have contact with any of the witnesses or co-defendants that were in the vehicle with you at the time. You know who those people are?
Yes, ma'am.
I have Gary Rhymes III. Is there anyone else?
I believe those are the only 2, Your Honor.
All right. Are there any other conditions the state would request?
No, Your Honor.
Good luck. Please tell me your name.
Ernest Levine Gadd III.
Could you get closer to the microphone?
Ernest Levine Gadd III.
All right, you have a warrant out of Seminole County with no bond. In 20 CF 1115 for failing to appear for a pretrial conference on a possession of cocaine and driving while license suspended. There is no bond authorized on that. I'll appoint the public defender's office. In 21 CF 6398, you're here charged with sale or delivery of methamphetamine, providing false identification to a law enforcement officer, and resisting without violence. At this time, I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Ms. George, did you wish to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor, on the sale and delivery of methamphetamine, based on the 4 corners of this arrest affidavit, there is no evidence of sale or delivery of methamphetamine. I only have one arrest affidavit. I'm not sure if you have anything else.
No, this is one that I assumed we would go ahead and reset. State is asking for a 24-hour reset. I believe the officer's affidavit that we have is the one that arrived after the traffic stop. I'm going to try to obtain the officer who initiated the traffic stop.
Okay.
So state asked for a 24-hour reset.
All right, I'll give you that. I had the same question, Ms. George, so thank you for bringing that to the court's attention. We'll reset this for 24 hours. I'll stay the bonds, but he can't bond out because of the Seminole case. So we'll see you back here tomorrow. Yes, sir. Please tell me your name.
My name is Nico Herbert, Nikoherbert.
Thank you. You're here in 21 CF 6391, charged with possession of hydrocodone, possession of oxycodone, possession of cannabis over 20 grams, possession of MDMA, 2 counts. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. I had a similar question in this case, Ms. May. I'm sorry, Ms. George, if I'm taking your argument, but counts 4 and 5, what's the reason for the 2?
Generally, the officer, if they find him in two different places, I don't remember if that's the case in this one, since pretty much all of our cases today are drug cases. State, we just ask that you ROR domestic counts 5 and find PC for count 4.
All right, Ms. George, I'm assuming the defense does not object to that?
No, Your Honor.
Hold on, let me make sure. Oh, I see. There were 17 reddish pills that tested positive for MDMA, and then white crystal-like substance that is MDMA that weighed 7.9 grams.
Yes, Your Honor, so I believe
I understand.
pills and then the substance.
All right, then I'm going to treat it as subsidiary. All right, there is probable cause here for your arrest. Your bond will be $1,000 on count 1. $150 on each subsequent count. You're not allowed to possess or consume any controlled substance without a valid prescription. Do you understand? You're not allowed to possess a weapon of any kind, firearm or ammunition, or have contact with any known drug dealers. Do you understand that? All right. As to your out on bond case, I see that you're out on bond for possession of meth in 21 CF 5340. At this time, I'm going to revoke that bond. Good luck, sir. Please tell me your name.
Benson Pugh.
I'm sorry, could you get closer to the microphone?
George Benson Pugh.
George. Got it. This is 21 CF 6404. You're here charged with possession of cocaine. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. There is probable cause. Your bond is $1,000. You're not allowed to possess or consume any controlled substance without a valid prescription or have contact with any known drug dealers. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck, sir.
What happened with Mr. Jones?
Mr. Jones is bonded.
And
Oh, hold on.
Mr. Herrera?
Yeah, there you go. He bonded. Herrera bond, okay.
I'm sorry.
Reed bonded also, Your Honor,
All right.
and Michael Rivera bonded.
Great news. Please tell me your name.
All right, Aaron Lamont Robinson, ma'am.
You're here in 21 CF 6403, charged with possession of a concealed weapon by a convicted felon. There is probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Your bond is $5,000. You're not allowed to possess a weapon of any kind, firearm or ammunition. Do you understand?
Your Honor, state would also ask for no contact with the co-defendant, Mr. Wilson.
You're not allowed to have contact with Anthony Wilson. Do you live at the Nassau Bay Apartments?
No, but I'll be there. They're my family. That's my family. You telling me no contact with?
I understand. You can't have any contact with him right now. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
So your family lives at the Nassau Bay Apartments?
Yes, ma'am.
Who?
His mother, that's my brother. His mother's my stepmother. We had the same father. Father passed last year.
I see.
I do have two questions.
Yes, sir.
Do I get a bond reduction, and how does pretrial work? Can someone answer them?
So I'm not, you don't qualify for pretrial release, and I'm not inclined to change your bond amount at this time because of the charge. But your attorney can file a motion in front of the trial judge. This is just your initial appearance hearing. I'm not the trial judge that's assigned to your case. So your attorney can file a motion there, and that judge might reduce it. So you don't live at Nassau Bay, and your immediate family doesn't live at Nassau Bay Apartments?
No, my immediate family lives under the same address I'm under.
Wait, what address?
3891 Club South Point Drive.
Okay, I'm going to order that at this time you can't return to Nassau Bay Apartments. So until another judge modifies that order, you can't go back there. But if your attorney files a motion and the trial judge changes that order, you'll be able to. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good luck, sir. Please tell me your name.
James Scott.
21 CF 6392, you're here charged with possession of methamphetamine and possession of cannabis under 20 grams. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. There is probable cause in this case. Your bond is $1,000 on count one, $100 on count two. You're not allowed to possess or consume any controlled substance without a valid prescription. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You're also not allowed to have contact with any known drug dealers. At this time, I'm inclined to revoke his out-on-bond case unless you can give me a reason not to, Counselor.
Your Honor, I would just argue that this is a nonviolent offense, and if you look at his criminal history, I don't see any convictions. I see a couple possessions of controlled substance or drug equipment, but for the most part, he has no criminal history, so I ask that you take that into consideration and not revoke the out-on-bond.
What says the state?
Your Honor, the state has concerns that he picked up that case May 14th. So approximately 2 weeks ago. And given that it's the same charge as is here for today, so would ask that you revoke and double.
All right, let me make sure you understand, Mr. Scott. You're here for me to find probable cause or not and set your bond. You can say anything that you want, but everything you say is being recorded and can be used against you later. So I know you tried to say something, I couldn't understand it. Is there something you want to say?
No.
Or do you understand it can be used against you later? All right, I just want to make sure you understand that.
Your Honor, his only statement was that that was his first charge he had picked up.
Oh, I see.
But I would just point to the fact that when it's possession of cannabis under 20 grams, the state has not been moving forward with that. So I would just ask that, being that he does not have any convictions on his criminal record, that you not revoke his out on bond at this time.
Sir, you understand that a condition of being out on bond is you not commit any new law violations?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, because of his lack of criminal history, at this time, I'm not going to revoke that bond. Don't make me regret that, sir. Good luck. Please tell me your name.
May Skinner.
21 CF 6388. You're here charged with possession of hydrocodone and possession of cannabis over 20 grams. There is probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Your bond is $1,000 on count one, $150 on count two. You're not allowed to possess or consume any controlled substance without a valid prescription. Do you understand? You're not allowed to have contact with any known drug dealers. You are out on bond for possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver and possession of cannabis over 20 grams in 21 CF 559480. Ms. George, I'm inclined to revoke that unless you can give me a reason not to.
Your Honor, I would just argue that it's a nonviolent offense. And I would just point to the fact that he has zero failures to appear.
I'm sorry,
He
zero.
has zero failures to appear, Your Honor, for court.
Thank you. What says the state?
Your Honor, this is another one. He picked up his out on bond May 13th. So again, it's been 2 to 3 weeks, and he's picked up another drug charge. They would ask that you revoke and double.
Your Honor.
He also has a significant drug history.
Yes, Your Honor, and it could, if you do revoke, I'm not seeing it in our system yet. I just want to make sure that if it is revoked, that we are on it so we can get him a bond hearing. So I would just ask that you appoint us just to make sure. I don't see that we are. I don't see it in our system. It may be because it just happened.
I think the clerk is telling me that you're not, so I will at this time appoint you on that case, but I'm going to revoke that bond at this time, so you'll have to file a motion. Yes, sir.
Bob Starting. there any way I can get out?
Wait, I can't hear you. Get close to the microphone.
I have a job starting soon. I have is there any way I can get like a pre-trial release or GPS or something?
You don't qualify for pretrial release, and because of your significant drug history and because you were out on bond for a drug case and got arrested for another one, at this time, I'm revoking your out on bond case. But I appointed the public defender's office in both of your cases, so you have an attorney in both cases. They can file a motion in front of the trial judge, and that judge can change this order.
Okay, and how long do I have to wait for that? Who does that?
That's up to your attorney. As fast as they can get the motion filed is how fast, and they'll get in front of that judge.
I can't call anybody on this number. They're not gonna be able to answer this number to set up the motion or whatever?
Wait, say that again?
I don't have anybody to contact this number to get the motion
Yes,
set?
that's the public defender's office. So you're going to contact that
I don't have
number?
a way to contact them.
I'm sorry?
I don't have a way to contact them.
Oh, you do? There's phones here at the jail you can use.
They don't answer the phone at the jail.
They don't?
They don't answer. I can't never get in contact. It's just a voicemail, and I never hear from them. And I don't know who does what, like how does it work? Because it never is a person to help me.
All right, Ms. George, can you make a note for your colleagues downtown and see if they'll come and visit him?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good luck.
Good morning.
Please tell me your name.
Terry.
21 CF 6394. You're here charged with possession of cocaine. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Your bond is $1,000. You're not allowed to possess or consume any controlled substance without a valid prescription. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You're also not allowed to have contact with any known drug dealers. You're out on bond in 21 MM 3370. Ms. George, can you give me a reason not to revoke it?
Yes, Your Honor, I would just argue that it is both crimes are nonviolent. The possession of cocaine was a small amount, Your Honor, and I'd ask that you take that into consideration and not revoke his out on bond charge.
What says the state?
Your Honor, this is, I feel like a broken record, but this case he picked up May 18th, so it's been a short period of time before he violated the court's pretrial release conditions before picking up this drug charge. So stay with us that you revoke and double. I understand that they're both nonviolent, however, multiple charges within a month period.
All right, sir, I am going to revoke that bond, but I will double it. I will not hold you at no bond. So your bond on that case will be $1,000. And I'm going to appoint the public defender's office in case they weren't. So you represent them on both.
Thank you.
All right, good luck, sir. What happened to Summer Stevens?
She bonded.
Okay. Please tell me your name.
Brendan Thomas?
Brendan?
Yes, Brendan Thomas.
All right, in 21 CT 3917 and 3918, you're here charged with no motor vehicle registration and attaching a tag unassigned. There is probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender's office. Your bond on count 1 is $500, and on count 2, it's $100. As to case 21 CF 6387, you're here charged with possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver with a weapon, possession of cannabis over 20 grams, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Again, I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. There is probable cause. What says the state as to bond on count 1?
Your Honor, Mr. Thomas has a relatively limited criminal history. It looks like it's all drug-related, which he received PTD for in 2019. So state would just ask for a reasonable bond.
All right, Ms. George, did you wish to be heard?
Your Honor, I would just argue the same thing based on the lack of criminal history. I ask that you just take that into consideration when setting the bond amount.
All right, I will do that at this time. Your bond is $25,000 on count 1, $150 on count 2, and $100 on count 3. You're not allowed to possess or consume any controlled substance without a valid prescription. Do you understand that? You have to answer out loud.
Absolutely, yes.
You're also not allowed to possess a weapon of any kind, firearm, or ammunition. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Do you have any questions for me?
with my weapon. When I had my weapon.
Don't talk about the
Oh,
case.
let me explain. What you're here for today is for me to establish whether there's probable cause and set bond. You can say anything you want to me, but everything you say is being recorded and can be used against you later. So you can talk to me, but if you talk about the facts of the case and you make any kind of admissions, the state can use that against you later. So do you want to talk to an attorney first?
I wasn't gonna say anything crazy. It just, the way they wrote it on the paper is not what it was. It was not loaded or anything. It was actually in my glove box. That's it.
Okay, so I understand what you're saying, and it sounds like you think you might have some defenses. So you want to talk to your attorney about that, and they can raise those defenses to the state and then eventually in front of the judge if they need to. But it won't change what we're doing here today. All right, good luck, sir. Please tell me your name.
Tyson.
21 CF 6381, you're here charged with burglary of a structure and trespass to property other than a structure or conveyance. I reviewed the probable cause affidavit. There is probable cause in this case. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Your bond is $3,500 on count 1 and $500 on count 2. You're not allowed to return to 1295 South Orange Blossom Trail. Do you understand?
Your Honor, state would also ask for no return to the 1226 Columbia Street.
All right, you're not allowed to return there either. Do you understand that? You're not allowed to have contact with any victim or witness in this case. Are there any other conditions the state would request?
No, Your Honor.
Sir, you're out on bond for a petty theft charge in 21 MM 3051. He's not out on bond.
Not on bond, man.
All right, good luck, sir.
Is it no action?
He's not out on bond. It's not an out on bond case, there's no bond. So I don't know what that means. He wasn't arrested,
No, I believe it was an NTA.
so I can't. Good luck. Please tell me your name. 21 CF 6415, you're here charged with possession of a controlled substance. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. There is probable cause in this case. Ms. George, did you wish to be heard on bond or release conditions?
Your Honor, I would just argue that he has 0 failures to appear, nonviolent offense. So I just ask that you take that into consideration.
Can he be screened for mental health pretrial release? All right, I'm going to order that. If he qualifies, he'll be placed on mental health pretrial release. With a special condition, sir, you're not allowed to possess or consume any controlled substance without a valid prescription. Do you understand that? You have to answer out loud.
Yes, ma'am.
And you can't have contact with any known drug dealers. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, if he doesn't qualify, then I'll leave his bond at $1,000 with the same conditions. All right, good luck, sir. Ms. George, you might just want to look at the facts of that one. Okay.
Your Honor, Lavela, cash bonded,
Okay.
and Albano, Jeffrey refused.
All right. 18 CF 16425AO, I'll appoint the public defender's office.
I'll waive the appearance, Your Honor.
All right. He's here for a violation of probation. There is no bond. I've appointed the public defender's office. So there are no conditions. Please tell me your name.
Ashley Story.
20 CF 365BO. You're here because a warrant was issued for your arrest for violating your probation by failing to report in person within 24 hours of release from incarceration on April 13th, 2021. And, I'm sorry, this is a violation of community control, not probation. And by changing your residence without first procuring the consent of your probation officer. There is no bond authorized on this warrant. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Good luck.
I believe she's also a violent felony offender of special concern.
You are correct, she is. Thank you. Sir, please tell me your name. All right, I think you have 3 warrants for your arrest out of Hillsborough County, 222-81024, for delivery of a controlled substance and possession of a controlled substance. Your bond is $7,500 on count 1, $2,000 on count 2. And then in it's only 2? Okay, it's 2 warrants. 222-81025. You have a warrant for trafficking in amphetamines, 14 to 28 grams. The bond on that is $15,000. Yeah, you're right, it's only 2. All right. We'll notify them that you're here so they can transport you, but you do have bonds, so you can post that if you're able.
Okay.
All right, good luck, sir. Yes?
How long would the transport be?
I don't know the answer to that. I think they're transporting fairly quickly now. Obviously, coronavirus slowed everything down, but I think they're transporting fairly quickly.
Is it, hire an attorney down there, and also talk to a couple of detectives down there as well. Thank you.
Okay, all right, good luck. What happened with DeLeon? On an out-of-county warrant? It could have had bond, all right. Oh, yeah, it did. All right, is there any other business before court adjourns for the day?
No, you're not. Nothing from defense.
Thank you.